I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. Just, I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it, man.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
You just killed a little fucking man.
What are you going to do about it?
You're heavy because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. You're heavy because you got nothing. You got nothing.
I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA boxing.
King Bucho, welcome to BDA Boxing, the boxing debate arena. I will be your host for tonight. It won't be Mr. BDA, it will be King Bucho. I know we're getting a lot of new people, so yeah, I gotta make sure people can differentiate the two of us, because then Mr. BDA will get pissed off. You guys know how I like do my shows. I want them to be somewhat controversial, a little bit of a Jerry Springer touch to the show. So yeah, that's me. I'm proud of it. I'm not proud of it. But anyways, guys, thank you for joining us. Reverend Pickles in the chat, Haitian Sensation Promotions, Triple JJJ, Gerald Jones, JB Guthrie, so is supporting us, official boxing scorecard as well. Hard Recoil. Guys, welcome to the show. We have a great show. Actually, man, we have a special type of show because I'm going to change things up here. So what we're going to do is I have several topics, and we're going to be discussing them. Now, I was thinking of putting like a countdown, so we have a certain amount of time to discuss each topic. But I don't know if we're going to stick to that. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. You guys let me know what's better. Like I was thinking maybe giving each topic like 10 minutes. Although I think some topics are better than others, so maybe we can add a little bit of more time to some topics. We're gonna open up the phone lines. We're gonna open up StreamYard so you guys can join. And also, like I said earlier, if you have any topics that you want to discuss, let me know. You know, I wrote some things down, but we don't necessarily have to stick with those. Like for example, I'm gonna just post. Oh, by the way, before I continue, we're in June already, so I just want to thank everybody who donated in the last month, and also the winner from last month, which was Michael Poe. Michael, thank you for your contributions, and honorable mention Chris K. But actually, we should all be thanking Gonzalo. That's what was the most important thing, that we all donated to Gonzalo, and like he actually achieved his goal. But yep, thank you to everybody who donated. And who donated to Gonzalo. And also, we have like, 4 Patreon subscribers. I have them right here. I really thank the Patreon subscribers. We don't really promote it anymore because we haven't really added any content there. So we don't want to really promote Patreon because later on, when we have more time, we'll add content there and we'll certainly start promoting it. But there's 4 guys there, Boxing Asylum. Well, with Boxing Asylum, they have a great boxing channel. If you guys know about it, if you don't, then go check it out. It's a great channel. Hopefully, we can like do some crossover, like some sort of a crossover. I think that's what it's called. Boxing Asylum. I want to thank them. Check out their boxing channel. Pete, of course, Uncle Pete, Chris Gonzalez, and Apology, the one and only. Thank you for being Patreon subscribers. All right. Having said that, let's get down to business. Oh, first, I posted this picture of Floyd Mayweather. Oh, it's not a picture of him. It's like a drawing somebody did. Where the fuck is it? Here we go. As you can look at your screen, you'll see that there's Floyd with a bunch of money. I guess what they're trying to say is, like, hey, you guys hate Floyd. Doesn't matter. He's making the money, something like that, or like, oh, he's a smart businessman. He certainly is making a lot of money, but he's not the only one making money in the world. There's a lot of people making money through various ways, means, But when it comes to boxing, because this is a boxing channel, Floyd is a fraud. He couldn't even stop Jake Paul, and if he didn't want to stop him for some fucking reason, then he's conning the fans. People who paid $50 from their hard-earned money that they worked for. They showed some support. They buy the fight, and they get a shit show. And Floyd doesn't give a fuck, right? That's who he is. He doesn't give a shit about his fans. He doesn't try to stop Jake Paul. Logan Paul, whatever. Logan Paul, and some people claim again that he didn't want to. So that's even worse. He didn't even want to do it. So he's a fraud, and I don't know, people who makes this type of picture, and who's happy about how much money he made? You gotta be pretty pathetic celebrating how much money Floyd made. So this is the people we're dealing with. These are the Floyd fans. Disgusting. But anyways, let's get down to business. Apparently, the Fury Wilder undercard has already been announced. I didn't really check who's gonna be fighting. I'll check later, man. I don't think you guys even care about that pay-per-view. Usyk against AJ is likely to happen. That's what I'm seeing on the internet. Steve Kim tweeted about it. So hopefully we get that fight. I think we're gonna be getting it. I'm just saying. I have a feeling it's gonna happen. I don't have any fucking insight. So Mayweather. Apparently, the pay-per-view was a flop, and I think this is the first question of the night. So this is the first question of the night. This is the one we're gonna be answering. You guys are gonna be answering actually, because you guys are gonna hopefully call in or jump on StreamYard. So we're gonna be answering this question, and let me just get some people on StreamYard, because I know some people may want to jump in here. So that's the way it's gonna work, people. We're gonna be answering a bunch of questions together. Fuck, I'm just calling some people over here. I know Boxing Chief wants in. All right. I think we have Mr. BDA on the line. If jump in if you can. Let me just check this. Oh yeah, StreamYard. Guys, I'm gonna send a link also on in the chat there. StreamYard if you wanna jump in. And I want to thank Michael Poe also for his contribution. He just donated like a few minutes ago. Thank you, man. We appreciate it. And call in if you want, man. Don't be shy. Phone numbers on your screen. So that's right. All right. Is this the end of Mayweather post-retirement circus? Is the first question. Is this the end of Mayweather post-retirement circus? Remember, guys, this fight apparently was a flop. He obviously sucked. It was circus. But I want to know if you guys think that we may see another circus fight from Floyd, or do you guys think that this is it? I see we have Mr. BA in Boxing Chief. You guys want to jump in? Don't be shy.
I don't think this is the end of it at all. I think as long as he's going to get paid, as long as people are going to try and, given his lifestyle is going to have to shrink because he's not making 9 figures anymore, but so long as he can make 7 or 8 figures and as often as he can make it, he'll keep going. He will milk this until there's nothing left, depending on what that future fiance does to him.
Oh, there's a fiance there.
Oh yeah, he's one of the lead dancers to his club is his fiance, and I looked up a net worth on her. She's worth $750K. So something tells me that. First of all, let me say this: I hope that they live happily ever after. I mean that from the bottom of my heart, as cold hard, as conceited as my heart can be towards Floyd Mayweather. I hope it works out. I don't wish that upon anybody, but I don't trust that that's going to last for anything happy.
I think it's a celebrity type of marriage. I think it's a fake marriage. She's trying to become popular, and Floyd's trying to hide the fact that there's something fishy with his, let's just call it his lifestyle, if you guys know what I mean. Okay,
You're
well,
talking
that's a
about
good
what
point.
his uncle Roger accused Eddie Murphy of being? Is that what you're trying to say?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, we'll talk off air on that.
Hey, this is
He's
YouTube, man.
a
I gotta be
fan.
careful. I gotta be careful with on YouTube here. Recognize what's up, man. And the question is this the end of the Mayweather post-retirement circus?
Yeah. I mean, listen, he'll have another fight, but I think the fans have spoken out. Listen, we don't care about we don't care about you looking good. We want to see you die in the ring.
Hmm.
We want to see you get knocked out.
Well, not
So-
his fans.
Fight somebody that has a very good shot of knocking you out. You know, fight somebody that's like De La Hoya. Put De La Hoya in there. I think De La Hoya at this point would beat him up. I'm being honest with you.
He's
I think
looking
he
in
would.
shape. Looks like
Yeah.
he's in shape. I don't know, man. I don't know if. I think he goes.
Put him in there with
Trinidad in
somebody
the
who's
next
gonna try to
Trinidad.
knock him out. Who's a boxer, you know?
Yeah. I don't know
Because
how.
he looks soft, bro. He looks real soft. He looks like he's ready to go.
I think it's actually. I didn't really see the fight. I think I saw just one highlight. That was on
Mucho,
Twitter.
he looked bad. He looked bad, yo. I mean, as bad as he looked, that's how bad. This guy was even worse. What's his name?
Logan Paul?
Whatever. Yeah, that guy.
Logan Paul.
Logan. Excuse me, Logan Paul. He looked terrible. Obviously, you expect that from him. But Floyd gets caught with shots, even when he's defending himself. Pretty pathetic, to be honest.
From a 200-pound man. I mean, yeah, I know he weighed 190 something, but I guarantee he's close to 200 pounds by the time they stepped in the ring. And those kind of headshots, even though the form's not good, those are going to look what happened to James Toney when he started taking heavyweight punches. He started slurring his speech real quick, didn't he?
Yep.
So
it's interesting, man.
I just want to say this. Roger slurs his speech. His dad slurs his dad didn't have as many fights as Roger or Floyd. He slurs his speech. Something tells me those brains inside the Mayweather heads don't exactly preserve themselves very well when they take too many punches.
That's
Well, no, I'm
Yeah.
saying based off, and it sounded like a shot, but his father did not have 40 fights. They weren't tough fights. He had very few fights against fighters with winning records. Very few. The ones he did have, he lost. And now he's slurring his speech now.
Say those are the ones he lost.
Yeah.
What's that?
Yeah.
I was going to say those are the ones he lost.
What, the guys winning records? He fought one guy, Jose Barrett, I think it was, but he'd already been exposed by Marlon Starling. And then, the TV shot that Floyd got to get another shot at Marlon Starling was against Barrett. They both exposed him, and then he got a lesson taught to him by Marlon Starling. But my point is, he didn't take a whole lot of punishment against world-class... he only took a punishment for world-class competition. Throughout his career, he didn't take a whole lot of punishment because he didn't fight world-class competition. That being said, I'll wrap this up real quick. I don't see enough fights that he had against winning fighters to where he should be slurring his speech this much. And Floyd is a direct representative of his genes. So that's where I'm going with it.
Yeah, Roger also, he slurred.
Roger had a buttload of fights against a lot better competition than his brother ever did.
Yeah, that's true. So I guess yeah, go ahead.
The question is this the end of the Mayweather post-retirement circus? I think he's starting to realize that he can't just fight anybody. That's what Ellen Earlby always tried to say, like, well, Floyd can fight anybody and it's the biggest fight in boxing. Nah, man, because he fought Maidana, he fought Guerrero back in the day. He wasn't breaking 1 million pay-per-view buys, and it's the same thing now. He can't fight a YouTuber and expect people to watch something that they know is going to be one-sided, which it was in a way. I mean, we can all troll and say, Logan Paul won, blah blah blah. But from a boxing perspective, he was just, he turned into John Ruiz. So now what Mayweather's going to have to do? Look, if he wants to continue this circus act, he needs to fight somebody that's going to make people think, maybe this guy has a shot of beating Mayweather. I think the best fight for him right now would be some MMA guy, Khabib, or maybe even a guy like What?
Sorry to cut you off. Sorry, man. But I think that this was going to be my point. There's nobody's interested in a Khabib fight. that boxer. Go ahead.
I agree with Buccio. I think the fight would have happened if there was an interest in it because they put it out there a while ago and nothing bit. They didn't put it together. He and Dana White didn't follow through. I think they did their little polls amongst their people, and they just didn't feel like the buys were going to be there, so they didn't follow through with it. Otherwise, I think they would have done it.
First of all, with Dana White, if somebody look up Dana White never or right on YouTube, Dana White never video or something like that. There's a compilation of things he said would never happen, and then they happen. For example, there's somebody asking him on the street, "Hey, women's MMA will it ever happen?" I think this was in 2008 or something. He goes, "Never." Then he says, "How about Diaz versus George St. Pierre? Is it gonna happen?" Never. So he always says this ain't never gonna happen. So right now he's cheating on these YouTube fights, but he's a businessman, and if these fights make money, he's gonna be into it. Now, whether Khabib Mayweather, I didn't know that. I didn't know that they tried to set it up and it didn't work. My assumption would be that Dana White right now doesn't want it to happen because I think he's had enough of these MMA guys getting outclassed in the boxing. And I know Khabib right now technically is retired, but this guy ain't retiring, man. I mean, life in fucking Chechnya, wherever he's from, praying 4 or 5 times a day on a dirty mat, it's not gonna satiate his hunger. He wants that action. So I think that Mayweather fight is. And look, he doesn't even have to be Khabib. It could be somebody else. It could be fucking Masvidal. You know what I mean? So or somebody. There's somebody out there. So
Here's the thing,
you, man,
with
it's
the boxer versus the UFC guy. That's over because look at why would you want to see that again? Especially after you saw what happened with the McGregor fight. And by the way, McGregor was supposed to be a fucking striker. He looked like shit in that ring. So now you want to put in a wrestler and you expect a different outcome, and that's not happening. And then him against a YouTuber, it was a flop. There's no other. It's not gonna happen again. You're not gonna see fight against another YouTuber, celebrity, whatever. So what are the other options now? I don't see any other options at this point. I mean, recognize mention De La Hoya, maybe, but that would be just something that boxing fans may be interested in. But outside of boxing, nobody wants to see Floyd against a retired boxer. Go ahead. Okay.
They'll try YouTube one more time, depending on how this Jake Paul thing turns out. If that one does another 1 million plus buys, like the one before did, Mayweather's going to think that his name will shoot the pay-per-views to the roof again, and they'll try it one more time. But that's going to be. But like Jimmy said before, Mayweather's going to be the B-side this time. If he sells, if Jake Paul does 2 multi-million, or not multi-million, but 1 million plus pay-per-views in a row, and Mayweather's against a non-name like Berto and like Logan Paul didn't come anywhere near that, guess what happens? He becomes the B-side in this conversation. He may be the A-side up front, but behind closed doors, some of this behind-the-doors money, it probably ain't going Floyd's way.
Hey, how am I sounding now, though, fellas? Because I heard some people saying I was crackling.
It's crackling.
Slight crackling, but I can hear you clearly.
Yeah,
I can hear you loud and not totally clear.
Blue Coal
All right,
Sports TV
fantastic.
says, I actually think the Jake Paul fight will sell, to be honest. I mean, Jake Paul has
Well, listen,
better boxing skills, but go ahead.
yeah, they could try. You know, they're not gonna. Right now, I think when it comes to investing, people are gonna be weary of touching a Mayweather product that they don't think could sell. I'm talking about TV executives or internet channel executives, application executives. But they're gonna try because look, at this point, Mayweather doesn't have any other source of income unless he decides to return to boxing. And what is he? 45? At 45 years old, not everybody can be. No matter how good a guy is, it's hard to be a Bernard Hopkins in there. Mayweather, he's good defensively, he could potentially pull off some sort of ugly wins like Hopkins used to do. But I don't think he wants to go back to the pro ranks, man. It's a grueling sport, and I think he's had enough of that.
He's not going to do it at the pro ranks to risk his undefeated record. What has he made himself known for? How much money he makes and he's undefeated. The substance of his career, we as boxing lovers know. We can argue for or against it, but that's what, like I said this on this channel before, we only do that to the greats. We don't talk about Azuma Nelson, which is what I said before. We do it about Sugar Ray Robinson better than Henry Armstrong. We do it about Ali versus Tyson. We do it about Floyd Mayweather versus Sugar Ray Leonard. We go up and down only with the great guys on when we nitpick their records. We don't do it on the guys that we know were above good. We do it against the greats to try and rank where we think the greats are. So Mayweather's achieved that. The thing about it is, if he just was going to rest on his laurels, if he really thought he was as popular as he thought he was, he'd be doing what Ray Leonard did for a long time. Endorsements. He has none. He claims he has them where he gets $25 million a year, but if that's the case, what's he still doing this stuff for?
Well, yeah, he needs the
easy.
money,
Some
man.
people
He
claim
needs
it's easy
there's no
money.
other
We
income.
have a phone call, by the way. Should we take the phone call now? Because I don't want
Okay.
to hang.
Your show.
470, you're on the air, 470.
Hey, what's going on, guys? I just started listening about 10 minutes ago. Are you guys saying the fight flopped? I've been reading it did 600 to 650K pay-per-view buy. And that's without Showtime.
I read that it flopped. Let me pull the article up. Where is it?
I
Apparently
read, I read the same numbers. However, for Mayweather standards, saying that he could get $1 million versus anybody, that's not a success. Seeing the fact last time he did something of this much height, got over 4 million, that's not considered a success on his standard. It'd be a success for Spence or somebody like that, but not what Floyd claims he is, especially with the money he's demanding off of it.
I think that number was just U.S. cable TV. It didn't include the Showtime number, so it may be close to $1 million when they add everything up. We'll see. But I think for a retired
minus the refunds people are putting in for
a retired guy who's fighting, who's going to probably do this once a year, I think he's doing all right. I think he's going to continue with this.
The question is not whether he did well or not. The question is this the end? Because, like we said, 600,000 for him is not that good. I mean, there was a Showtime pay-per-view. There's no other U.S. numbers.
How much did they pay Floyd though? They paid Floyd 100 million and 20 million to Jake Paul, I believe.
But I heard he made 30 mil. I don't know if people are getting this 100 mil. Did he make 100 mil?
I don't know where they're getting it from either. He got 10 million guarantee, and he was getting 50% of the revenue. Now, 50 times 650,000 is nowhere near for him to get 100 million.
It has been reported
that's
that Floyd
been printed
Mayweather
in
will get
multiple
paid
locations that's what he was getting paid.
over 105 million for this fight, while Logan will earn a fight purse of 20 million. This is from sportsmanor.com.
Okay, well, that's the thing, though. But now the question is this the end of or is this going to affect for his future exhibition fights? Because the reality is he did not make, or they did not generate the amount of excitement, attention, and money that they expected. So either he's going to have to step it up against somebody that has a shot at beating him and who can rile people's attention, or this is just going to continue to go down for him, downhill, I should say.
I think the problem.
Yep.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think the problem with this fight was that nobody believed Logan Paul really could do anything because he lost his fight to KSI. He was actually 0-1. Now, Jake Paul, on the other hand, people have seen him knock people out. And if he knocks out the MMA guy, Tyron Woodley, I mean, that's a potential huge selling fight for Mayweather if they choose to go that route. So I don't see this being the end at all. I think they'll find a guy. He'll find somebody once a year or once every 2 years, and he'll do this for a few more years, and they'll find another guy they can generate revenue with. I just think for this fight, nobody knew nobody really thought much of Logan Paul because he already had a loss to KSI. But if it was Jake Paul, that'd be a much different story.
Yeah, but wasn't one of the selling points? Well, wasn't one of the selling points the fact that Logan Paul was so much bigger than Floyd, and that maybe that would give him some sort of advantage, right? That was the selling point. But when it comes to Jake Paul, I mean, yes, he's smaller. Maybe he's a better boxer than his brother, but still, he's not gonna have a chance against Floyd. That's the thing, though, and he's smaller on top of that. So, what would be the interest in that fight?
We see it that way. See, I watched the fight with one of my boys. He's a casual viewer. So the people who know boxing, we have a view of this, and the casual fan has a different view of this. The casual fan sees Jake Paul knocking dudes out, and they're like, "Whoa, let's see him against Mayweather." That's just the way they see it. We know that Floyd's skill is too, but the casual fan. And in fact, the casual fan saw this as a win for Logan Paul. He survived 8 rounds with Mayweather. So,
well, that's the thing, that the casual fans watch this and they didn't even break a mil. See, usually when you get the casual fans, that's when you get $1 million pay-per-view. But right now they're saying 600,000. If they say $1 million, I'm still going to be suspect on because it wouldn't be the first time Mayweather's team has cooked up the books. So
right.
I mean,
what I'm saying is,
you and I talked about that earlier. They said $1 million versus Guerrera, but they never released the numbers, and now they might be hyping this one up too.
They need to do Mayweather as a porn star. That's what they need to do. If I were his manager, I'd put him in there with like fucking one of the big porn. Who's the big, like, especially a gay porn star, a gay porn guy? That would be, because imagine that. Mayweather's gonna be bordering on homophobic stuff. It's gonna be great, man. Caller, what do you think?
I don't know about that, but like, you know, the casual, like I said, the casual fan, when it came to Logan Paul didn't even win his debut against KSI. So nobody, I mean, he was bigger, but people have seen Jake Paul knock out Nate Robinson. They've seen him knock out Ben Askren. And I'm telling you, if he knocks out Woodley, if he knocks that MMA dude out, he's going to be the biggest thing in boxing. I mean, we can hate on, we can say what, I'm just telling you, if he knocks that dude out, he's going to be the biggest thing in boxing. He's got the casual fans, he's got the mainstream audience. The younger brother, Jake Paul. And if Mayweather goes against him, I mean, that's gonna sell like hotcakes.
All right. Well, we're gonna move on to the next question. So thank you for calling in. Right. You can call back again if you want. All right. Take care.
All right, guys.
All right. Next question, people. Next question. Let's fucking do this. Let me delete this old question. And here we go. Question number fucking 2. Will AJ versus Usyk be a competitive fight? A lot of people are saying that Usyk's too small. I read a comment saying that AJ is going to use Usyk as a toothpick. That's very interesting, as a toothpick. So what do you guys think?
Well, go ahead, BDA.
AJ Usyk. Will it be a competitive fight? I don't know what Mr. BDA. So it's go ahead. Go ahead, boxing chief.
Okay. Well, we did a show on this, and my first statement was I'd have to kind of see it to believe it, because it's hard for me to picture guys that are that much smaller than someone else going into it, like Jones against Ruiz. I knew Jones had the skill, but I had to see it. But after listening to Precise and going over everything, and we did the analyzing, yeah, I think he's got the skills to make him very competitive. I think he's got the intangibles that's going to be hard for AJ to prepare for. It's going to be easier for him to prepare for AJ. It's going to be for AJ to prepare for him. To find a 6'3" lefty that fights the way Usyk does, and to have to try and find something to spar to get ready for that. Yeah, he's going to have a challenging situation to get ready for Usyk, whereas Usyk can find a 6'6". I'm not saying they're growing on trees, but there's more than one heavyweight that's 6'6" out there that has a long reach that's heavy.
Now,
so
AJ fans are going to start getting angry about what you're saying. You're basically saying that AJ is not that special.
Well, no, I don't say he's not special. I think he is. Of the top 3 heavyweights, I think he is special. I don't know if he beats Tyson Fury or not. I know that I'm positive. I think Wilder's been running for him for years. I think he can beat Wilder pretty much easily. But when you're sitting looking at, when you're in the gym, you're preparing for your fight, you usually try and find people that are very similar for sparring partners. And I don't think you can find another guy out there like Usyk. And that's where Joshua's going to have his problems. Because he can get in shape and he can do a lot of sparring, but how many of them are going to be lefties the guys he's sparring with will be lefties that can do anything like what Usyk can do?
That's a good point, man. By the way, am I coming through here clearly?
Yeah, you're fine.
I can definitely hear you now.
I can hear you.
People said I was clipping before, so I had to change the audios. Anyway, listen, Chief made some great points, man. It's going to be hard to find another southpaw who's as mobile as Usyk in the heavyweight ranks. Maybe he can get an amateur of some sort that possesses similar qualities to Usyk, but it's going to be hard. That being said, I still don't think Usyk is going to be on the level when it comes to the judges. I think AJ has the advantage of knowing that he doesn't have to school Usyk in there to get a decision. He just has to make it competitive. He just has to beat him by a little bit. And I think that little bit is by keeping him away, popping that jab. And again, he doesn't even have to throw that jab hard. He just has to flick it hard enough so that it scores, and he's going to be getting points off of that. So it's going to be, what I'm trying to get at is Usyk is the guy who has to make the fight happen here in the ring.
Yes, you're right.
The guy who's going to have to be twice as better to get the benefit of the doubt from the judges.
And in addition to that, I think that, so Joshua's going to measure with the jab, but he's going to pop it very much. When they do that patty cake of the left jab versus the right jab, banging into each other, looking for that opening and how to parry, Joshua's not going to parry. He's just going to stick it out there and he's going to measure with it. So as long as he measures and throws the right hand, and that right hand makes Usyk have to move out of position to where he can throw back, then that's going to make it as competitive as what you're alluding to. That it just has to be competitive enough to where Usyk's off rhythm, and that make it to where it looks like AJ's holding his own, and the judges are going to go in his favor. I agree with you on that because there's too much riding on the other end.
Exactly. By the way, shout out to Chris K for his contribution. He says Usyk could drain Joshua's gas tank by circling around him and going to the body. Luis had success going to AJ's body in the first fight. See, that's another interesting point because after the knockdown in the first Luis fight, it was unboxing Joshua because Joshua was overcommitting. He was desperate to, and he was embarrassed by what had happened, so he was being a little bit too overzealous, and he ended up getting countered. And if he fights that way against Usyk, I think Usyk pieces him up and wins more impressively, you could say. But if he decides to shut down the action, he's gonna make Usyk work for it. So yeah, that's the plan for Usyk right there. And he's not as quick as he used to be, Usyk. I mean, we can look back at when he beat Junior Fa and Joey Joyce in that hybrid tournament, but he ain't as quick as he used to be. So it's definitely one of the most intriguing fights of the year.
Yeah, he's 35, right? So he's obviously going to have to rely on his reflexes and movement. So yeah, if he starts losing a little bit of that, could be trouble. All right, we have still 5. Go ahead.
No, real quick. Also, that there is a lot of pressure on, when it comes to the A side, B side. The B side sometimes have to fight. It has to do a little bit more extra. So that could give Anthony Joshua a lot of opportunities to land big punches, because you kind of have to I can see a scenario where he's like, okay, this is not good enough. Let me do a little bit more. And at times, yeah, you can stick around a little longer. And maybe AJ catches him with a big shot. But other than that, yeah, I think that if this fight, the longer the fight goes, Usyk wins.
In the chat, Jonathan Morrison says Usyk is losing his quickness. It's sad. Okay. What else are people saying about this fight?
I don't know if he's losing his quickness.
I don't know. A lot of people talk about that Chisora fight, where they said some people claim that he looked like shit. They say he looked like shit. I don't know what fight they were watching, but
I just saw him stick, like a guy who had to fight more. That's what I got. And if you look at when he even when he was at cruiserweight and when he stood his ground and he had to fight, he always stands his ground. But you get what I'm saying, when it's less feet movement, he gets hit like any other fighter.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna get hit.
And Chisora had the right game plan. He tried to use his weight. He came forward. He's like, I'm the bigger guy. I'm going to impose my size, the size difference here that I have, my size advantage. It was a very small ring also, by the way. So Chisora did what he had to. And even then, he got hurt by Usyk. And if Chisora wouldn't have fought the way he did, there would have been a lot of questions still remaining, such as, whoa, what if Chisora would have been more aggressive? What would have happened? We saw an aggressive big heavyweight.
Yeah.
Fight, and Usyk managed to win the fight. So did he get tagged a little bit? Yeah, of course. But did he survive? Yeah. Was he hurt? Did he go down or anything? No, he didn't. So I think people are a little bit too harsh on Usyk right now.
I think the numbers people are overlooking here isn't the age. It's AJ's 51 amateur fights leading into the pros, and Usyk's 350 amateur fights. You're giving the pros, I get that, but some of the fights in the pros, especially in Joshua's case on the way up, were soft touches getting him ready for the world title shots. But you turned 35 and you had 350 amateur fights. So look what's happened to both Lomachenko and Triple G. They still have it compared to the guys, not the mainstream guys, but the people in the rankings, the bottom of the top 10 in each weight class. They could probably fight those guys for the next 20 years and not lose. But the upper echelon guys, Triple G versus Charlo. I would pick Triple G to win, but it ain't gonna be easy. He's gonna struggle with that. It's gonna be largely because of his age and the number of damage that's been on his body, particularly amateur careers. It catches up to you when you get older.
Yeah, age is a factor. Age is a factor. All right, we have 2 minutes before we move on to the next point. Kenshiro, thank you for your contribution. He says, recognize, think Usyk wins if it goes 12 rounds. Recognize.
In reality, yeah. I try to stay away from what the judges are gonna do. Like I look at it the way you should be scoring boxing fights. I think that he beats him on points. The question would be is, can he do it so convincingly that they can't rob him, or it's a pretty close fight where you can see that where AJ won, 5 rounds and they just add another 2. You know what I'm saying? And then give it to him. There's a lot on the line here, bro. There's a lot. So Usyk is the one that has the uphill battle. He has to knock him out or whitewash him, basically.
In the chat, we have G. Someone named just the letter G. He says, Tony Bellew schooled Usyk till he gassed. All right. Interesting comment there. Jonathan,
well, you also have to take into consideration. You have to take into consideration. I mean, he was schooling him. You could go with that, but now the question is: do you think AJ is as skilled or as quick as Tony Bellew? Because look, people say, "Well, yeah, AJ is one of the most skilled heavyweights in the world." Yeah, but who has he really outskilled? Parker is the only guy who's got quickness that makes you think, "Wow, Joshua beat him by decision." But then you look at the performance itself. A lot of people shit on it, so it's not like he's schooling any. The master boxer he fought, Klitschko, was outboxing him. Now, if you want to say that he's going to be able to parlay his height and reach into a decision win, I don't disagree. I agree. I think he's going to get it done, but that's not because he's going to school Usyk. And Bellew, by the way, Bellew schooling, I think also people don't misuse the word schooling a lot. And one final note, before the timer runs out, I rewatched Usyk Chisora. It wasn't as close as I initially had thought after I watched the first time. It was clearly Usyk won that fight. But I mean, he was going. There was a fucking grizzly bear jumping at him, and it made things a little awkward for him. But in the end, he ended
up like a 9-3, 8-4 win for Usyk, in my opinion.
Right. And by the way, remember, Joshua's not going to fight that way.
No.
Good point.
No,
next question.
Fight that way.
Next question. Let's see. Next question. Number 3.
Next question.
All right. If Pac-Man wins, where does he rank all-time great? Where does he rank in the all-time greats? Where does he rank if he beats Errol Spence Jr.?
I hear this question so many times, and it's such a weird. It's like it's an unfair question to me. Honestly, where does he rank if he beats Errol Spence at this point? Where does Errol Spence rank, basically, if he, in his prime, can't beat a aging legend? So it's an unfair question either way, right?
The only one that's got an upside from this is Manny. The only one that's got an upside for the answer to this question is Manny.
Right. He does, but at the same time, like, look, man, he's coming there to win. And he's not coming there to lay down. I think he is. We'll see when the fight happens. I think he's coming there to knock, to beat up Spence like he does every opponent. And let's see if Spence is good enough to beat him at this point. Manny Pacquiao already proved everything. He already beat some of these younger fighters that are coming in today. He beat all the top guys that would fight him in his era. Mm-hmm. So I don't think it does. I don't think it does either. I don't think it really does. Yes, if he beats Spence, it's going to look way better. But in terms of his legacy, I think it's pretty much set already.
No, it is. But the question is, if he wins, like, is he a top 5 greatest fighter of all time?
I mean, if you're talking about like mainstream analysts would have to consider that, probably. As a fan, I mean, I would say he's already like top, at the very least, Lucha. He's the top 3 best fighters I've ever seen. at the very least, if not the best.
Yeah. All right.
I think, so let's
Sorry,
go to this level.
Boxing
Let's,
Chief, hold that point because we gotta go for a phone call first, and then you can or you
Oh,
can
by all
jump in.
means,
After. All right, 773 you're on the air. 773.
Oh boy.
No, I
Wait.
got to talk about the circus. The circus fight. Have you guys been seeing that video clip of, or the narrative that Floyd knocked him out and he held them up? Have you seen that?
Yeah, I heard about that. I didn't see it, but I heard that happened at some point.
Yeah, me too. I heard it. I didn't witness it.
Oh my gosh, it's like the same conspiracy theorist who said Tyson Fury put egg weights in his gloves or something. I can't believe how dumb people are when they see this video. They say, "Oh yeah, Floyd, he knocked him out and then he held him up because he wanted to go the distance." Or something. I'm just like, I'm blown away by the stupidity sometimes. But as far as that fight goes, Floyd's old. He's 44 years old. He's small. And some people just can't wrap their head around it. They think it was like he took it easy on him or something, or he's trying to angle for another fight. No, guys, he's old. He's 44 years old. Dude's way bigger than him. That's just even a novice, even 0-1 novice, can come in there and make 44-year-old Floyd look his age. And some people are trying to make up excuses for why he looked that bad. Face the facts, he looked like shit. It's over. He said it. He's retiring. He's done. No more exhibitions. He knows he got out of there. He's lucky to get out of there not getting wobbled or something, because Logan landed a big right hand at him. He's lucky he didn't get hurt. He kind of just went into survival mode. He went into just kind of this coast. Just get out of there without getting hurt, get the money, and that's it. What's your thoughts on that?
It was a shit. I didn't see the fight. I don't give a fuck. I think it was. We talked about it. Like it was garbage for sure. And I don't want to see Floyd do anything again. And by the way, I think it was a flop. Apparently, considering that they paid Floyd apparently 105 million and they paid 20 million to Logan Paul, so it was definitely a failure when it comes to like return on investment. All right. Jesus Christ. Kevin, the question, if Pac-Man wins, where does he rank in the all-time greats?
Goated.
What?
No, I don't know where he ranks. Probably someone
top 10,
somewhere in
top
the top
5, 10. Top 10. All right. Good answer. All right, Kevin, we're going to move on. If you want to call back again for the next question, feel free to do that. All right? Take care.
All right, brother.
All right. So that was Kevin from Chicago. All right, let's continue. We have like 5 minutes to continue discussing this. I cut off Boxing Chief, so go ahead. Sorry.
So, relative question that we're on, because there's always going to be a way to debate everything on where you want to put everybody. But his accomplishments are untouchable if he wins this fight. How many times has he won the welterweight title by this time? And at this age? How many people have won and held titles in 4 different decades, and let alone the fact he's about to defend one now on top of it if he wins this? These are untouchable records. That Mayweather, who beat him, that Ray Leonard, that Ray Robinson, all these guys didn't do this. So there'd be a strong argument that someone, especially his diehard fans, and even though I'm one of them, I won't necessarily do this, can say he's easily number 1. Because who else did what he's done? Who else? What other flyweights won the welterweight title? Okay.
Not even featherweight. I don't think there's ever been a flyweight that's gone up to featherweight. Come on.
No, one other featherweight won the welterweight title. Henry Armstrong.
No, I'm talking about flyweight. That I don't think a flyweight ever even went up to
no,
featherweight.
I don't think of the. Not off the top of my head. I don't.
Could be wrong. Could be wrong about that, but I don't think there is. I'm
pretty sure nobody has. That one flyweight that went to featherweight. And so if you hit every division on the way up to almost the middleweight, flyweight, he skipped bantamweight, featherweight, lightweight, welterweight. I mean, 4 out of the 8 original divisions. And that's the only reason why he doesn't have 5 is because he didn't stop at bantamweight. Nobody's done this. So I'm going to yield the rest of my time on. I'm not saying I'm going to put him number one, but obviously anyone can try that if they want to, and I'm going to yield my time to anybody else who wants to jump in on this.
Well,
Zalo.
if I may say, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
If I may, I'll make it quick. Look, I don't know if where he ranks, if he pound for pound of all time, if he beats Spence. But somebody raised the question in the chat: is that win over Spence, would it be better than Mayweather's win over Canelo? And my answer is an astounding yes, because Canelo's best win at the time had been against Austin Trout, and that being in a very competitive fight. Spence has cemented his position as the best welterweight in the world. And there's a 43-year-old Manny Pacquiao, or 42, 43. Mayweather was what, 38? 39? So
30,
a little bit younger.
And 36 years old, something like that.
There you go. So that's my answer.
And recognizing I talked the other day, you change that number in the front of your age from a 3 to a 4, even if it's 39 to 40, it changes everything in your body drastically.
It does, man. It really does, yep.
We speak from experience.
Just the amount of energy it takes now to even do what you used to do, it's you start noticing it, right? That's why at Pacquiao at 40 something, look, I'm pretty sure in his mind when he's in there working out and he's boxing and when he's in these fights, I'm sure he feels a little different. That's what makes him a little different compared to his heyday, right? That's why I say that this guy is probably the greatest fighter ever because of all those factors. You know, just to have the mindset like, yeah, I don't care about, what I don't even think he thinks about his age. He's just like, look, once I'm in that ring, no excuses, 100%. I got to give my 100% to win that fight. And he's usually successful, He's lost a couple of fights. I'm talking about like fights where he clearly lost. There's not many. There's all the other fights that I've seen him lose. Out of his 7 losses, like at least 4. Obviously, he got stopped in 3 of them. So those other 4 were very questionable. Some more questionable than others. I thought he lost to Mayweather because of my personal opinion. That's just a political loss on his part.
Somebody in the chat, GB Guthrie says, I believe in accumulative accolades. So if you beat a fighter, their accomplishments are yours. Salute to Ali for becoming the oldest world heavyweight champion, through George Foreman. Ali becoming the oldest.
I don't know.
He's reaching.
What?
He's reaching. He's saying that because Foreman is the oldest heavyweight champion ever, since Ali beat Foreman, that makes Ali the oldest heavyweight champion ever, and that exists only in this person's mind.
Yeah, I think it's just I was like, man, I can't believe he's writing this. Okay, I get the point. It's sarcasm and everything. Yeah, that's a good point. I guess somebody in the chat said, I've heard that, like, oh, yeah, Pacquiao did this, but he lost to Floyd. As if all of a sudden Floyd takes all of the accolades from Pacquiao. It doesn't make fucking sense. Next question, we are moving on. We're moving on to the next question. Number 4. This is a question I posted in the community section on YouTube. How heavy should AJ come in against Alexander Usyk? How heavy should he come in, guys?
245 the most.
245?
No more than that. 245, yep.
Anybody else? I say 230.
Same as the Reeves rematch.
Yeah. What was that? 230 something? No.
Yeah, but I think it's 237. I'm looking it up right now.
Okay, perfect. I think
that
would be the best.
What was his weight when he fought
Ruiz?
Pulev?
Pulev was this last one was 240 and 237 was Andy Ruiz rematch.
Yeah, no, anywhere from 240 to 245 is best for him. If he gets too light, that might work against him too.
What, you think he might run out of gas if he tries to come in too light?
Yeah, because there's going to be a lot of pressure. He's going to need. Look, if he can make 237 easily, if he's a guy walking around, I don't know, 245, 250, and he's like, 237 is not going to do nothing to me. All right, fine. But if he's like forcing to make 237, and then you got Usyk putting pressure on him, he might have less fuel.
I'm curious what his walking around weight really is at now that you mentioned that, because usually you train down. He's fighting the 250 center.
I saw him, and maybe this is a little bit misleading. I saw him in a picture right around the pandemic when it first started in the summer of 2020. He was pushing over 250. I'm telling you right now, that was definitely over 250, bro. He looked ripped, and that bodybuilder built. That puffiness that a lot of them have.
Yeah.
That Frank Bruno build.
He was over 250 for sure. Jay, I'll tell you that.
So now you got to take off muscle.
Right. How much muscle you want to take off?
Yeah, well, you can take off fat all you want to. You start taking off muscle, and your body's just. Ask Roy Jones what happens when that goes down.
Those fighters. If anybody's ever sparred, they're gonna get you dizzy. Because 1 minute they're one angle, the next minute the other angle, and they keep fucking circling around. Your head starts spinning. You need all that energy. You need as much energy as you need. You got to find the right weight, and I think 240 to 245 is his right weight.
Somebody said 280.
You think 250 is too heavy?
250 might be too heavy, man. I'm telling you, he was close to that against Andy Ruiz, and he looked like a fucking.
Yeah.
He looked like he was having a panic attack. That's what it looked like to me.
Hey, Gonzalo, what were you going to say?
Got 30 legs under him. That's 30 legs, but he's still fleet-footed. Kind of like I say Andy Ruiz because the way he was moving, I know that was a fat guy, but I mean he looked like he had good legs under him.
Yeah, he looked much better. He looked much better. Some people think that he should actually come in heavy. Considering that, taking into account that Usyk is a cruiserweight moving up. But I think that's a bad idea. Black Lomachenko in the chat says 280.
The only way that works is if his plan is to go in to walk Usyk down.
Right.
But as we discussed the last time we had this on the show, and Precise was here with us, that's not his style. So if he goes in and he uses the jab and grabs him and does what Holyfield did to Tyson, wraps up both arms, puts his weight on him, and walks him backwards, well, fantastic. But does he have the instincts to do that? Because that's not. Boxing is you fight like you train. He doesn't train like that. He's never fought like that. Is he going to be able to put this through, to put that kind of a game plan at one time against a guy who's probably too smart to let that happen?
And that's the key. You said it. People, most boxers train the way they plan to fight, and that's why
he's never fought that way.
He's never fought that way. So.
In the chat, G says Joshua better prepare for a 12-round fight. Usyk has a gas tank. Good point. Another comment. YouTube Boxing 6007. Usyk is a better boxer. AJ is physically bigger and is a better puncher. AJ wins. He's banking on that power. Official Boxing Scorecard says yes, Del. They're talking to somebody else. Blue Collar Sports TV, Del Boy says high 2030s, low 240s. All right, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I don't think he can go lower than 230.
242. Come in there, 242.
Yeah, yeah, he can go lower than 230. I don't.
He'll be a fucking. He won't have any advantage over Usyk after that.
He'll be lighter.
Yeah,
he'll be lighter than Usyk. Usyk gonna come in 238.
Usyk's gonna come. Whoa! How much did Usyk weigh against Chisora?
Usyk's never been that big.
No.
Usyk is gonna probably come in at 230 most.
Well, he's never been that big, but he's bigger now than he's ever been before.
You're right, and Gonzalo's right about that. I'm seeing pictures of him. He looks fucking big, but here's the thing. No, he's a big dude. I always knew that.
Yeah,
I always knew that. I was like, that dude. Sorry,
no, 238. I don't know. Where did you get that number, Gonzalo?
Don't quote me, but I think I was listening to Fight Films videos, and he is in his 230s now. This is Precise.
Oh, man. Do you guys think that's a good idea, though?
I think what Precise meant was that he's walking around 230, which is
okay.
I believe that.
But one thing we do know for sure is that the purpose was the goal was to gain muscle, and he's gonna come in more muscular and bigger than he has ever have before.
Because top weight's 217. So
yeah, but he's
he
not
can
a
come in at
cruiserweight
225 and still be the biggest he's ever been, and still not be too much muscle, and still be enough to hopefully hold his own in this fight. 238. You're talking putting almost you're talking about putting well over 20 pounds of muscle on at 35 years old for one night.
Yeah.
For the
Sounds like
first time,
some-
we're talking about stuff that Joshua's never done before. If Usyk does this, come on, that changes things drastically.
Sounds like
And I'm not
Deontay
trying to
Wilder.
compare the two.
Maybe I made a
Which I'm not trying to compare the two, because obviously Anthony Joshua is a way better fighter than John Ruiz. But I think what Usyk wants to do, he wants to have that kind of effect. I think if he does come in at 238, I think he's going to come in no heavier than 230. That's just my opinion. I say he comes in anywhere from 225 to 230. I don't think he goes any higher than that. But if he did, I think that because if he looks at himself as, I'll still have more speed than you with a little bit of weight behind that. You get what I'm saying? So it'll be more weight, and he's going to try to have that kind of effect on, so in the way that Roy had against Ruiz.
Yeah.
So total different fighters, and I get that, total different fighters, but I think that he's looking for that kind of effect.
And a little bit sturdier in the way he would take a punch as well.
Right. Yep.
Yo, man, I'm starting to remember that Ruiz Jones fight, and remember at some round 4, I don't remember. Jones actually hurt John Ruiz. Remember? He staggered John Ruiz, man. He could have finished the guy. So, man, hey, man, if you don't think Usyk can hurt Joshua, man, you're crazy. It could happen. It could happen. He could stagger him, by the way. Mark my words.
Well, and then James Toney dropped him Ruiz twice. So I mean, he got dropped twice by middleweights, and there goes the distance with Hasim Rotman and Evander Holyfield.
Yeah, good point.
Was it?
I forgot
What's
about
that tell you?
Yeah. All right.
I mean, in fairness, AJ's gotten dropped too, right?
90 seconds.
What the fuck? 90 seconds? 90 seconds of what?
The only difference here is that Anthony Joshua's a dangerous puncher, and he can hurt you with either hand. He could throw with either hand. He could throw a hook or an uppercut. He could throw a straight hand with the right hand as well. So if he keeps turning to the left, to the right, I mean, don't get too comfortable, Usyk, because man, you might hurt him, but something's coming back in return. And if Anthony Joshua's hurt, he might be even more dangerous.
What the fuck? Sorry, man. I muted this shit.
Might
Go ahead.
be the key word. Again, we talked about this before. He's gonna have to punch across the grain if Usyk's doing what he wants to do. The power won't be there because he's gonna have to go all the way across his body, across everything, across all of his muscle fibers. His hips won't be open right. There's a lot of things that will happen unless he's the one dictating how everything's going. If he's not, and Usyk's dictating it, then obviously he'll be punching across the grain, like I said before, and the power's not there. And if that does knock Usyk out, then that tells you he can't take that much of a heavyweight punch. Because when you're not balanced to be able to throw the shot, open your hips up right, you're gonna have the same power.
Yeah.
15 seconds. Any last comments? 15 seconds.
10 seconds.
Jimmy,
What the fuck?
Jimmy, you
Great
got
fight,
anything?
man. It's gonna be a great fight, BD.
What's that? Why, you hanging up at 15?
No, this topic lives on in 10 seconds.
Oh, okay.
Your thoughts
My thoughts on what? How big Usyk's going to be?
on the fight, general? What does he need to do? All that stuff.
Just use his ring IQ. He doesn't want to get into a slugfest. And if he survives the fight, I think he wins on points.
And how heavy do you think AJ should come in was the original question.
A little heavier than he did against his last time against Ruiz, personally.
Me too. I was thinking, me and you thinking the same, Jimmy. I said the same thing. I was thinking anywhere from 240 to 245. No more than 245. No less than 240.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, we're gonna move on. I don't know what's happening with the phone lines. If there's any issues with the phone lines, people, let me know in the chat. All right. All right, we're gonna move on to the next question here. So I'm gonna remove this one. Questions. We're number 4, number 5. Question number 5. Is
sparring big guys, and so they realize that maybe he can deal with this guy because in sparring he's trained
Yep.
with fighters similar to this guy's his size. And Mario Barrios is a come forward fighter. He's a fighter that's going to be in the pocket, similar to how Leo Santa Cruz was to get hit back when they're trading.
Yep.
He's going to remain in there, and Tank's going to get his shots off as well. Stylistically, this is why I think that they picked this guy. Yeah.
Good point. Good point, Gonzalo. Because that's why I'm picking him to win. I'm still picking Tank to win, but I am interested in this fight. This is a fight that I am interested in. Going in there thinking that there's not going to be no issues with the weight. The weight is what it is. 140, no rehydration clause, none of that stuff. It makes for an interesting fight, but his style is tailor-made for Tank for the reasons that Gonzalo mentioned about he kind of fights similar to Leo Santa Cruz style.
His powers looks like it's about average too. It doesn't look above average by his records.
Yeah.
17 knockouts out of 26 wins. You're not a feather fist, but you're not necessarily a knockout puncher. And then again, how many of those were early on in your career? How many of you had late? I'm looking. Well, he's only had one distance fight in his last several fights. I don't know what the quality of competition is, but we've got a 5'10" versus 5'5". We've got 71-inch reach to about 67.5.
Yeah.
Take those measurements for what they are. Because I'm not going with that at all. I'm going off of what Gonzalo said about Mayweather's always taken calculated risks. The only calculator that was involved in Mayweather's risks was how much money he was going to make for the easiest amount for the easiest fight he had.
Yep.
So since he came out of retirement against Marquez, and from that point on, it was always about that. So when you say that, Mayweather also though never did his research. His father, his uncle, they did the research. Mayweather says himself he doesn't like boxing.
There you go. That's true. And
but we know Mayweather lies a lot. But if he actually is telling the truth, that he didn't do a lot of studying. I mean, when he was doing his first retirement, he was on a Showtime situation. He was still an HBO fighter. They said, "Who's you wouldn't join the Chad Dawson fight?" Oh yeah, he's the best pound for pound fighter in the world. No one in the world thought that but Floyd Mayweather. And then we saw the fact he was getting stretched talent-wise by a 38-year-old Glenn Johnson. So that's who you think's the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world? You don't have an eye for the sport. He said that Broner was going to be his heir apparent. Most of us questioned that. We turned out to be right. Now he's putting all his money to Tank Davis because he doesn't have anybody else. But his uncle is dead, and his dad's not really involved much, so who's really doing this research to make sure that this is a smart catch? If it's Floyd, I don't have a lot of faith. He can box. I don't have a lot of faith in his eye to be the determining factor of what they're going against for the talent.
Guys, I'm going to restart the phone lines because we had some technical issues. So whoever's calling, call back again, all right? Because I have to restart this motherfucker. So, yeah, sorry about that. Sorry, you guys can continue talking about Tank Davis. Or if you're done, we can move on. There's 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
Well, hey, am I echoing? Can you guys hear me?
I hear you fine, Jimmy. You sound good, bro.
You can hear me fine? Okay.
I hear you okay.
Yeah, to piggyback off Chief's comments, they're not going to take this. Put it this way: if Mayweather TMT Promotions thought this was going to cost him even an outside chance, it was going to cost Davis his O, they wouldn't have put him in there. And remember, no matter who he fights, it has to be a PBC fighter. So you look around the landscape: who's he going to fight at 135? Really, is anybody there? You know what I mean? The PBC, atmosphere. I heard, not from somebody I would sign my life up to, but his kid's never lied in the past. I don't always agree with some of his opinions, but he said that he was told that Barrios has sparred many a times at TMT's gym in Vegas. He's a Texas kid. It's not that far of a ride.
Your show.
You know what I mean? For some of these guys. So, from where he is location-wise. So I wouldn't doubt it. A lot of guys, if they go to Vegas, are going to spar there. Or my point being, I just don't see them putting him in there. I don't think this kid's fought anywhere near the level of a Tank Davis, although Tank Davis hasn't fought anybody in 5 years of note since he beat Pedraza. He's been fighting just an absolute procession of no-hopers ever since.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be a pay-per-view. Like, it's a somewhat interesting fight because how he's going to deal with the length. And this kid's got some curious about that. Will I pay fucking $80? I'd sooner fucking brush my teeth with Will and gaggle with gasoline before I pay $80 for that shit. But that's just my theory, in my opinion, on that.
I'd rather gargle with Brute aftershave.
Oh.
Fucking pay $80.
So again, Jimmy, I think you're 100% right that they're not going to risk anything. But again, back in the day, Roger and Floyd Sr. were doing the scouting. If Floyd's doing the scouting, I have just because they picked a guy, I don't have faith in Floyd's eye for talent.
I think what Jimmy's saying that he's getting help on, like Floyd is playing the front guy. I scout out the fighters. I do the good matchmaking, but there's a good chance that somebody's still helping him with that. Maybe not the expertise of his dad and his uncle, but
somebody's got to be doing it because he's not.
Also, I was told that Floyd, when talking about Davis, it's in a very disrespectful tone. Like, I guess personally, like, he doesn't like Davis. He doesn't like his commitment to the sport. Because one thing about, Floyd, and there's all kinds of issues I have with him, how he handled the later part of his career, you're not going to find a more dedicated dude to when it came to keeping himself in, shape. And, I mean, legendary training sessions, like doing 20 rounds in a row. Like this, I mean, one thing about Floyd, he always came in shape because it was so intricate part of his game. So to see and I think on his arrest, because sometimes they'll put a guesstimated weight or weight, I'd like to actually see it, but somebody said on his arrest, it said 175 pounds. So that's big for a 5'5" kid fighting it. That's probably another reason why he's fighting at 140. But that goes to show you to what size this kid blows up. He just doesn't take it serious. I mean, obviously, he's fucking sending 4 kids to the hospital when he leaves his $250,000 car in an accident.
Floyd's looking at it like, dude, I'm in my 40s. I never weighed, at least I don't think Floyd ever weighed 170 plus pounds. And he's taller. And he's like, what's wrong with you? What the
Maybe that's the struggle because he moved up to 35 from 30 and still failed on the scale. So the struggle with him is that he got no choice, so that's why he's fighting at 40.
Well, look, the gong's gone off, so I'm just going to wrap up my thoughts on this. He's short, but he's got really wide shoulders. He's got thick legs. He's got broad shoulders.
Yep.
I'm wondering if this weight, he ever should have been this weight to begin with. I don't think he's dedicated. Don't get me wrong. I agree with you guys there. But I'm wondering if this weight was never like where he should have really stayed. He was 18, 19 when he turned pro. Already struggling at 130. They probably should have moved him up this way a long time ago. Regardless of height. Regardless of his dedication. I get you. But this is probably the weight he needed to be at.
Jimmy, we got him.
And again, like you said, his size, tank, right? That's a good description. That's why they call him that, just because of his build. What's that, Bucho or BDA? I'm sorry, who was it?
Yeah, it was me. All right, we're going to move on to the next question. Now, we already answered this question. We already talked about this. But since you're here, Jimmy, I'm going to bring it back for a few minutes. All right, so that was our initial question, the first question of the day, which was, is this the end of the Mayweather post-retirement circus? So is this the end of the Mayweather post-retirement circus? Jimmy, go ahead.
You were breaking up there for a second, so let me know if I am, so I'm not just rambling like a fool.
Is this the end of the Mayweather retirement tour?
Oh, yeah, okay. Is it the end? I think to a certain extent, because listen, they down in Miami, now this has been said by a bunch of different people, including somebody who was there, tweeted it out. They were literally handing tickets out up front, trying to pull people in off the street. Hey, you guys want to see a fight? There's people walking around the blocks, trying anybody on foot. Hey, guys, want to go to see the fight? They were trying to fill the place. So it wasn't, the tickets weren't moving there. I don't know, has anybody heard about the numbers? That'll have a lot to do with it.
650 pay-per-views from what we heard.
650, pay-per-view.
Oh, wow, yeah, no, they fucking, then they screwed the pooch. They were expecting, they were promising Paul, some people were saying $20 million, which would have been $200 million in pay-per-view sales. So that goes to show you what they were saying, because he got 10% of that. he got $250,000 and 10% of the pay-per-view. So 650,000. Oh yeah, that's it gets to the point where, and then the fact that he didn't stop him. And listen, I finally, disgusting, watched some of it just to see exactly how Floyd looked. There was a time it looked like Paul was going to almost fall from exhaustion, and Floyd seemed to hold him up right now into the fight. And I think that's honestly, Paul, that was the whole. I think they had a gentleman's agreement. Like the way Paul was whipping his punches, they were all arm punches. They were slap arm punches, goofy like. He wasn't curling in and trying to knock Floyd's head off. Probably a gentleman's agreement. You don't try to knock me out, and I won't humiliate you. Because Floyd could have put that fucking doughboy out in 2 rounds. Make no mistake about it. He didn't, because the longer the thing went, the more pay-per-views they had a chance to sell. You know, and as longer it's better for Showtime. You know, but I think at some point, like, do I think the circus will end? No, I think Floyd will continue to do whatever he can to make money. It's his only income stream. It's his, you know what I mean? It's like
the only way
unless he's ready to sell everything, and you know.
And he's not.
But if he respects it, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so I think it'll get worse and worse.
Yep. I think you're right about the gentleman agreement, Jimmy, because it looked like Paul wasn't really trying to hurt Floyd, and Floyd didn't really want to like embarrass him or at least like get him out of there. And I think you're right. I think that's what happened. Floyd said, "Look, if you drop me and I get back up, son, I'm gonna school you. I'm going to I'll box you in a way that you're gonna look real stupid." And I think that Floyd,
he wouldn't even have to drop him. Floyd just been boxing and sparring so long. He knows he knows what's behind a punch. If I feel something that that I know is above a pulled punch, because I can throw punches. If I'm boxing you and I wanted to make it look like I was throwing hard, I mean, again, Paul's not a boxer, but I mean,
any professional boxer knows how to do that.
Him, yeah. But yeah, exactly, knows how to make a punch.
Sparring, you know how to pull your punches back.
So yeah, I don't think it was a real fight, even though it was just an expedition. And then the reason being, Floyd was smart on a couple of occasions with this. He didn't sanction that fight. That was smart. So it's not even on a box rack because it wasn't a decision. He strictly said entertainment. Why would he have done that? Why wouldn't anybody in an interview, when he was talked to, when they said, "So about this fight," and he would always say, "No, it's an entertainment. It's entertainment." Why would he push that? You know why? Because if Paul, who's kind of a knucklehead, ever let it slip that it was fake, you can't sell something one way, and then if you find out it's something that people could actually take class action suits, you get sued and whatnot. You know, people buy a fight thinking it's a fight and a fix was in. Now they can't, because you can say, "Well, I didn't promise anything. I didn't say it was a fight. I said this was entertainment."
It's not even sanctioned or anything. Kevin from Chicago.
Exactly.
Kevin from Chicago in the chat says Floyd tried 3, 4, or 5 times to stop him, and he couldn't.
And he's basing that off of what?
I don't know. I didn't see the fight.
I mean, there was times he looked like he was punching him pretty hard, but I think that's just instinct, man. That's instinct, and maybe he got caught with. I've seen him get caught with a shot that kind of buckled him, and maybe that was like a reminder, like, "Hey, chill the fuck out." You know?
Isn't that a big fuck you to the fans, though? The fact that Floyd
it is a big fuck
doesn't even try to stop the guy.
The entire card was a fuck you to the fans, regardless of how it turned out and how much money he brought in.
Dude, I was more offended by Birdo.
Yeah, me too.
What happened?
Yeah, but that was.
You know what I mean? Like, that was a fucking joke.
Because he just did Pacquiao and he had one fight left on his contract. He could have fought anybody. I mean, Amir Khan was the lead person in the discussion, which is the only reason why we're still talking about his name today. And the reason why Canelo fought him was because Mayweather mentioned him as a potential opponent. That's the only reason why he's even relevant after he lost to Danny Garcia.
Well, most guys go out in the shield. Yeah.
But instead, he goes and picks Andre Unwashed Up Birdo. And that was his goodbye before he came out and did these 2 circus shows. That was nothing more.
He never cared about the sport, bro. You and I have talked about that.
All those guys that are on his social warriors that think they're, you need to quit hating, stop the hating, and start. Why? Because he sure as hell hated me when he picked Andre Berto to be his last fight. He didn't give two shits about me or anybody else
the
for that
sport.
matter.
It's so funny, right? It's so funny how the same fan base of Floyd's who are saying that will defend him fighting Berto as a checkout are the same ones demanding that GGG at 39 fight all these fucking the killers
Charlo.
of 160, Charlo, the toughest division, right? The same motherfuckers who are defending Floyd fighting Berto and he did this and that. It's just, dude, it's a clown show. And my respect for Errol Spence Climb. Did you see what he tweeted out? What he already said in an interview was pretty good. He said, Floyd's just doing Floyd, man. He's doing his Floyd thing. He's putting on his mask and he's robbing you all. I was like, wow. Yeah, I threw a wicked jab at him, man. Floyd's putting on his mask and just robbing you all like he always does. Something like that along those lines.
Sad thing is, I don't think Spence meant that as a shot. I think he meant that as a compliment. They admire the fact that he can do this stuff and pull the wool over people's eyes and get away with it. And that's an admiration, and that's what's upsetting me about the sport is because that becomes a mentality.
Let's take a phone call here.
Well,
Jimmy,
okay,
just quickly, a phone call from a 111 number. Go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead. Welcome.
Hey, what's up? What's up with all this tape for Floyd, man? What's going on?
Guys, who wants to answer the question? What's up with all the hate?
Oh, this is a guy I called him before saying that we didn't like the LDBC, isn't it?
I don't know. So,
yes, sir.
Caller, did you like the fight?
No, I did not, but I didn't pay for it, so it means nothing to me.
Welcome to the club.
So no, but I'm saying,
it doesn't seem like many
how can you?
Do you think Floyd is?
Jimmy.
Go ahead, caller. Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to ask Jimmy a question. How can you compare Floyd's resume to Triple G? Who's the best fighter Triple G's beaten?
Wait, whoa. Did I compare resumes? Did anybody stop me? Seriously, I'll rewind it. I want to see where I said their resumes. I didn't. What I said was
that
the same people who made excuse for him fighting Berto and not fighting one of the top guys are now demanding that G, at the same age, fight Charlo and fight so-and-so. I'm just saying keep it straight. That's it. No resumes were talked about.
Okay, but Floyd beat all the top dogs in his era.
No.
You had
Strickland
who was undefeated. You had Porter who was undefeated. You had Spence who was undefeated. You had all these guys that he could have fought, and he fought Andre Berto instead.
Facts.
Spence? When did Floyd retire again?
And I don't hide behind bad judging. Floyd lost in 2003.
To who?
Everybody in the industry knows it.
Yeah,
Who did he
including
lose to?
HBO, who loves him, who loved him at the time.
I think some guy named Castillo. I don't know.
Some dude named Castillo. He beat him.
Jose Luis.
No, but anyways, listen, we're getting off topic. We're getting off.
Cesar Chavez's sparring partner.
Yeah.
We're getting off topic. We're getting off topic.
Just for the clowns.
We're getting
Just for
off
the clowns,
topic.
he gave Castillo a rematch, beat him handily. So
Yeah. You can
throw
have
that out the
rematches.
way.
It was ordered. It was ordered. It wasn't willing.
Yeah. But anyways, he won
every
the
time
rematch.
Floyd had a close fight, he ordered a rematch.
WBC
Maidana,
ordered the rematch.
Castillo.
Okay. Now you asked us who he avoided, but he didn't want to fight Antonio Margarito, right? Because he took a.
That's
he
true.
supposedly-
Wait.
He retired.
Really? Come on, you know that Mexican style doesn't work against Floyd. Let's stop
Why did
it.
he
It
retire?
doesn't matter it doesn't matter if you think it doesn't
Yeah, it
work.
doesn't matter. I
Floyd
can
doesn't want to fight that guy. He didn't want to.
Yeah, you can say I think, you think, it doesn't matter. He actually retired. He said he was
Okay,
retiring.
let me
and
ask
he came
one
back.
question.
Yes.
Who on the panel thinks that Margarito is a real threat to Floyd Mayweather? Come on.
I
Me.
think so. Style wise, yeah.
At that time,
Size wise.
Me.
Really?
Even
So,
Paul
Yeah,
Williams.
really, man.
Is
Really.
Margarito a better
When a guy
fighter
can
than Maidana?
when a guy can punch and take a punch, he has a very good shot of beating you. Yeah, that's just the
Paul-
way.
A lot of people think that Floyd fought a lot of Mexicans. Yeah, he did fight like 5 of them. Not a whole lot of like great ones or good ones. He fought some Argentinians too. Almost like the same 5-5.
Either green
Wait.
or past their prime.
Marquez and Carnelo are not great fighters?
Oh, you want to go to the
Well, yeah,
Marquez
but you
fight?
know he
Hold on.
was pudgy. He was really a lightweight, and Canelo was kind of green.
22.
He wasn't at his best.
Yeah, he's
No,
22 and
Marquez-
Floyd.
guys,
wait.
Marquez-
So
Marquez
Canelo
is
was
a
green, but
featherweight.
Teofimo,
Marquez
who's
is a
also 23,
featherweight.
beat
And just came
Lomachenko,
off
who's your guy's
like
pound for
crap
pound.
against Julio Diaz.
Yeah, Teofimos did a much better job than Floyd. I mean, he fought a pound for pounder.
You mean Teofimo did a much better job than Canelo?
Now confused here. What were you saying?
Because he was young. He was young. No, I'm saying that he wanted to use Canelo's age as an excuse. Didn't Teofimo just beat a pound for pound guy who was older than him at 34? How old was Lomachenko?
You're just comparing ages. You're not comparing fighters. Like you're just
Do
comparing.
you care about
ages.
what
That's a-
happens
that's
in the
a-
ring?
that's
Like,
an
or you
incorrect
just look at
comparison.
wins and losses, and that's it.
You're
You
looking
just
at
look
numbers. See, this is the thing with Floyd fans. They look at statistics and numbers. He was
Yeah,
23.
you
This
look
other
Did you
guy was
notice
23.
Teofimo Lopez wants nothing to do with Lomachenko again? Nothing to do with Lomachenko again.
No. So
in
no.
the same way,
answering your question,
Mayweather doesn't want no
wins
part
and losses
of
don't matter to me.
Canelo today. You know.
Yeah, look, listen, you can give him those wins. The Canelo, and obviously he beat him. But, Marcus is a counter puncher, and Canelo doesn't throw a whole hell of a lot of punches. So when you talk Mexican style, let's think of somebody that can actually press and throw a lot of punches like
Margarito.
Yeah,
And listen, let's be all honest, right? There's some guys in this fucking panel who aren't even Canelo fans. Canelo, at the time he fought Mayweather, to the Canelo fighting today, a night and day difference.
Yeah.
Monstrous difference.
Yeah, but at that point, he had already beaten Mosley. He had beaten Cotto. I mean, he wasn't a normal
washed
fighter.
Mosley.
Oh man, don't
He
even
hadn't
mention
beaten Cotto
Mosley.
yet.
Come on, even
Canelo had
Mosley.
not beaten Cotto when he fought Floyd.
No, he didn't.
He
That
beat
was
his
like 5
brother.
years later.
He beat his brother.
I know.
But anyways, listen.
And Cotto and Mosley was shot.
We should have a debate on analyzing Floyd's career, because now we're gonna get off topic here. We were just talking about Floyd and that fight he had against Logan Paul. It was a disaster. Even you, caller, you didn't want to see that shit. But some people actually paid $50. Some people actually paid $50, and were they duped?
Guys, let me make one point.
Yes.
Because of Floyd's career, he has the ability to do things like that. When you win, like he's won, and it's not
So you
just I
condone
don't
that.
care about
Hold
wins
on.
and losses.
Let him talk.
No,
All right.
I don't care about wins and losses, but the truth is, Floyd beat all the best fighters in his era, so he's earned the right to fight these little stupid YouTube fighters.
All right. Was he entertaining? Was he good for boxing though?
Was Floyd good for boxing?
Yes.
Yes, because if you notice, all the highest, what's the word I'm looking for? Earning fights in history. Who's the main denominator? Floyd Mayweather.
Can I
say something?
Sorry.
It's because of the other.
What? Also, you're saying that Floyd opened the doors to what, higher pays, or what are you trying to say?
No, I can.
Yeah, why not
address this?
Because
You just asked this gentleman if Floyd was good for boxing, and he mentioned Floyd's income. Fuck this, how much money that dude made helped the health of the sport. That dude, thousands of people signed on a class action suit to sue Showtime after that Pacquiao disaster. He turned off so many casuals. And I'll tell you this right now, I hope, God willing, I'm alive in 20 years and this fucking thing's still going. That dude will be a fart in the breeze. Nobody will be watching Floyd Mayweather fights on YouTube, but a dude who still works for a living, like Eternal Guardian Mickey Ward fight, will still be watched. So how much somebody gets paid doesn't mean anything. He didn't fight a talented dude on the way out the door. He didn't want to pass the torch because he was obsessed by 50-0, which isn't even his record. Many fighters have gone 50-0.
Yes.
Caller.
But they didn't beat the fighters that he beat.
Let the call answer.
No, but yeah, a lot of fighters have gone 50-0, but you got to look at context. Look at the people he's beaten. 23 champions.
But you don't care about context, because I try to bring up
I do
fights
care
that
about
he lost.
context.
I'll bring
Like,
context.
he lost to Steele.
Chavez Sr. went 89-0.
Dude,
He
he
beat a
lost
bunch
to
of taxi
Steele.
Yeah,
Nobody.
but let's bring the context here. Listen, we're in an era where you have four. He wants to talk about the caller. Listen, come on, let's just bring up the context you're talking about here. We are in an era where you have 4 belts in every division. You're counting 16 champions that Floyd beat, or 14, whatever. Victor Ortiz was one of them. Like, are you seriously gonna tell me like that's you're factoring in that Yeah, go ahead.
That was the last guy he knocked out. That was the last.
Wait. Recognize. Let me ask him. Let me ask him a question, and then I want to respond to the question after that. I'm going to ask him. You were starting to say 89-0. Are you referring to Julio Cesar Chavez? And please finish your statement.
Yes, Julio Cesar Chavez went 89-0, but he fought a lot of cab drivers. Very honest.
And what? I didn't hear the rest of that.
The first time
he said he fought a lot of cab drivers.
First time he fought anybody.
Okay, so you're so wait a minute. So you're dismissing the first 44 fights of his career.
Beat the hell out. Go ahead.
You're breaking up. I can't understand a word you're saying, so I'm going to talk over you.
Yeah, he mentioned Chavez. Go ahead.
So you're saying that you're going to dismiss his first 44 fights like every other casual out there that listens to Stephen A. Smith and all these other guys that think they know boxing.
Stephen A.
Smith. Hold on. If you're gonna do that, then you have to subtract the first 16 fights away from Mayweather's career, and now he's 36-0. So I don't understand what substance are you trying to bring to this? And Bujo, I love the idea of a Floyd Mayweather debate show one time. And this call is welcome to come in and bring all the facts he wants to against any one of us, and we'll be happy to have that. And
Caller,
I'm going to bow out now.
You said we should eliminate Floyd's first 36 fights. Why?
You didn't hear me at all. I said you should eliminate his first 16 fights. You're eliminating the first 44 of Julio Cesar Chavez's career before he won his title. Then you're eliminating the first 16 of Floyd's to make it fair because he didn't fight a single ranked fighter before he fought Genaro Hernandez. So that drops him down to like 36-0 or 32-0. So if you're going to do that for one, you got to do it for both.
You're
You
counting
can't just say
McGregor.
take 44 away from Chavez and
you're
then
counting
say
Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor. It's the 50th win. I mean, anyways, go ahead, caller.
Okay, who's the best fighter Julio Cesar Chavez beat?
Who did he beat? You don't know boxing. You don't know.
Oh my God!
No, it's a rhetorical question.
Let me jump in real quick.
Yeah, go recognize.
If you don't know who Julio Cesar Chavez beat, then you're not a boxing fan. You're just not a boxing fan. You're not old enough to speak on this matter. You're a Floyd fan, and you're not a boxing fan. There's a difference. I'm not trying to insult you, okay? Julio Cesar Chavez is a legend, not because they just want to put him there. He's a legend. He went 89-0 for a reason. He was a champion. It's not like he was 89-0 with no belt. No, he had a belt where he had to defend his belt against top contenders. There was obligations there. Okay, what you're talking about,
the height of boxing.
Yeah, what you're talking about fanboy stuff. And I'm not dissing you, but that's what you're doing. You're saying
recognize
Julio Cesar Chavez. Hold real quick. That he fought nothing but cab drivers. So we have to dismiss, and Jay brought this up to you, and we have to dismiss all those wins, right? But you don't want to do the same thing for what Jay said to you. His first 16 fights were against unranked fighters. If you look at Vasily Lomachenko's, Lomachenko, from the first fight he's had, every fighter he's fought were ranked fighters. They were ranked.
14 out of his first 16 were current or ex-world champions.
Yeah. Okay. So you don't care. You said you care about content, but then you kind of contradict yourself because on one hand you're saying that Chavez fought nobody, which is a lie. That's you, sir. You are lying, or you just don't know, right? You don't follow boxing. You didn't follow Chavez, that's for sure. But you don't want to do the same thing for Floyd. When Jay just mentioned to you, his first 16 opponents weren't ranked fighters. Go ahead, caller.
Floyd was young.
Floyd was young.
So was Chavez.
All right,
so was Chavez.
When Floyd finally reached his prime, can I speak? When Floyd finally reached his prime, he was fighting nobody but contenders and champions. That's a fact.
So was Chavez.
And he beat
Chavez.
So was Chavez. When Chavez fought the best in his era, he lost.
Let the caller
That's
finish.
a fact.
Let the caller finish.
Contenders and champions. So wait. So when Triple G fought contenders, you just dismiss it. I'm pretty sure.
Of course you did.
Say I'm wrong. You never said that. Have you ever?
What about Triple G?
Well, he fought contenders, just as like the same as Floyd, right? Now you're making it because you're making as if you're saying Floyd fought all these contenders after that, contender after contender. So did Triple G. Now I'm not saying Triple G had a better career than Floyd. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying he fought contenders and he was knocking them out. And I don't know you, but I can see where you're coming from, and I wouldn't be surprised if you were one of the people who were criticizing Triple G's record for knocking out contenders.
Triple G's career is not as good as it should have been, based on his skill. Let's be real.
Based on his
resume is not.
So you're saying he's an
maybe
overachiever?
But he was knocking out contenders.
I think he's saying he's an underachiever. He said based on his skills.
But does he count all the guys who actually paid him walkaway money, like Cotto? Here's $500,000. I cannot fight you. When the current champion at the time, when he was asked about fighting Froch, would you fight Triple G? No, you swerve him, punches like a mule. I mean, just like people straight up. Billy Joe Saunders pointed to Eubanks and said, he knocks out you and me on the same night. From 2014 to 2017, there wasn't a more feared and avoided fighter in boxing. And in the 40 years I've been following the sport, almost 40 years, I've never seen a fighter so avoided. It was insane. He fought who would fight him, and that's what it was. And so him to be criticized for that shit is nuts.
You would have to go back to what's your favorite fighter? Marvin Hagler, that guy.
Yeah, Hagler.
I've got two.
Even Hagler got more opportunities because it was a different climate back then. Even
add that too, because that's a very important nuance. When you're talking about Julio Cesar Chavez in the time of his career in the 1980s, late 70s, are you kidding me? This is not. It's almost not even the same sport. The talent level is so below then. And when I say, I'm not talking about the upper echelon, the top 10 of any weight division. Not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, it's common sense. If you have 1 million people doing an activity and you have 50,000 people doing the same activity, what's the chances you're going to develop a hell of a lot more talent out of the million? Yep. It's just the sport is on gas. It's on fumes compared to what it was back then. Fumes.
I think that's the real number, right? Jimmy, something like we're estimating there's about something like 100,000 boxers today, guys that we never heard of, where back in the days there was like 1 million guys trying to compete.
You can't even. It's unbelievable, dude. I grew up in a city of Lowell with 100,000 population. We had at its height 11 boxing gyms. That's a gym for every 10,000 people. That's how big boxing was.
Yep. That's
insane. Now we have 1.5.
All right, how did we end up talking about just Floyd? We were just talking about Floyd and that pay-per-view.
He was talking about Floyd's resume. And Floyd does have a good resume. He does, but then he's talking about context, and that's where he contradicts himself, because we brought up like the fact that he has lost a fight. We've seen it. We've seen it with our own eyes. I remember him losing to Castillo. Nobody thought he won that fight. Absolutely nobody.
No, there's a big difference.
Except for
the big difference.
Except for the 3 blind mice.
You saw what you wanted to see.
Right.
No, I didn't see what I wanted to see. I didn't care for Castillo back then. Nobody cared about it.
Recognize. So every reporter, every pundit, everybody worked at HBO. Everybody said Floyd absolutely lost. So everybody just saw what they saw. Okay.
George Foreman said.
I want to hear from the caller. I want to hear from the caller what rounds he thought Floyd won.
Boxing Chief. We're not gonna break down. We should do it on a special show. Breaking down the Castillo fight, analyzing Floyd's record. We can
do that, bitcho.
We're getting stuck here. Shit, we need to move on, man. Caller, thanks for calling in. If we do a Floyd show, definitely you have to call in. Okay.
Yeah,
that would be a Boxing Chief special.
All right.
We definitely want to have you in that conversation.
He's the resident Floyd guy. I defer to. I was gonna say I defer to Chief.
All right, caller, thanks for calling. Take care, man.
All
right.
Yeah, because guys, we're gonna get stuck here, man, with this shit, man.
Yeah,
I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry.
No, it's.
No, it's your passion, dude. Because you've been passionate about that because you bring your facts to the table. And I've listened to you talk about him on a number of occasions. I mean, that's the thing about the show. Listen, I wouldn't be on a show with panelists who made up narratives or talked past their points. Talking like a talking point is a fact. without it being an actual fact. You know what I mean? Talking of narratives, I can't stand that in any aspect of life. Why I respect this show, win, lose, or draw, fucking, we just call it as it is.
That's right.
Well said, Jimmy.
Keep it real, man.
Yeah,
Keep it real.
it's another thing. Floyd Mayweather wasn't that of an exciting of a fighter. He didn't have.
He was
a lot
very
of
negative,
knockouts,
like you said. That term that you like to use, negative and positive fighters. He's one of those negative fighters. Yeah, it's always
he knew to make his money by being the heel. He was smart enough to play up the heel aspect, and that's where he. But listen, and it's true. And how many times have I said one of the greatest boxing performances I've ever seen was that night he fucking beat that kid again, like 2002. Pretty boy was fucking good. And I respect him. He had punching power. He came to fight. It was a different animal. Money Team Floyd, garbage. Garbage for the sport.
Yeah,
did nothing for the sport.
For them to say Leonard Ellerbe and Mayweather to try to have the public believe that they're selling us entertainment, man, that's kind of garbage. And the people that are defending that, they're only defending the illusion of the undefeated record to kind of say, my guy's better than everybody else, and yeah, that's what it's supposed to be. The illusion of undefeated. But they're not really doing it.
Floyd with kid gloves. Let's be honest, we treat Floyd with kid gloves compared to everybody else.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we gotta move on. Next
I was about to
question.
say, on that note, Bucho, what's the next question?
Next question. I have a lot, so I'm just gonna pick one. This one looks good. Will Keith Thurman reach the top ever again? Will Keith Thurman reach the top ever?
No.
That's it. Oh, yeah, that was an easy one, I guess. What are people in the chat saying?
He'll go up to 154 because he's a big dude.
Yeah, he had some fights at 154. I remember in 2012, he was also fighting between
I forgot who he fought. Yeah, he got rocked in that fight too, didn't he?
Don't be surprised if he doesn't retire soon. That's all I'm saying.
Soto Caras.
Walking around like a 190 or something.
Guys, his power was overrated. It wasn't real. It was good against these up-and-comers. He had one real knockout that I noticed over Frank, Recognize now we're talking about this, a past his prime Collazo, and that was a very sketchy.
Once
he won the title, and started taking on we talked about this 2 days ago.
Yep.
World-class competition. His knockouts went away.
Yep.
He would not fight Errol Spence. Why, I don't know. But
he just didn't want to take that risk, man. He did not want to take that risk.
Because he got hurt to the body by two left-handers, and Pacquiao and Collazo. Imagine what Errol Spence, left-hander, shot to the liver.
Then Soto Caras rocked him too, remember?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's what sent him. That's when he went from the fucking. Well, it's Keith. One time I had Power Thurman, but that's when he became the fucking back foot boogeyman.
That's when he became. But before it was Keith one time, then he was Keith sometimes after that.
Yeah.
Soto Caras, Collazo, Pacquiao, and Josecito Lopez have hurt him.
Also, Chavez, the Argentinian guy.
Yeah.
That's true.
Chavez.
Diego Chavez.
Matador.
Yeah, he also hurt him.
That's the one that gave Bradley a hematoma, right?
Yeah. Even the last dude he fought, Vargas, man, coming, right? He was winded. That kid wasn't in shape for that fight, but he rocked Keith.
No, what's his name? Lopez.
Josecito Lopez.
Josecito
Lopez. Yep.
Yeah.
Lopez.
Yeah. Guys, is Keith Thurman gonna regret signing with the PBC at some point because of all the inactivity that happened?
If you're talking about legacy, maybe, but money, he's probably comfortable with the money, the steel job.
That's true. But later on,
But actually, when you look at it, not really. Other than Pacquiao, dude never made more than $2 million.
What?
Yeah, but let's take it I think these guys are underachievers, right? When you talk about the potentials of becoming a legacy fighter, in terms of obviously you make more money, but in terms where they started their careers and where they their lifestyle before this, he's probably happy with that. Dude, I get to go wherever I want. And
but
do
legacy
things like that. worry about money.
Sorry to cut you off, but he's a boxer. I mean, he's a boxer in the sense that he was a world champion, but he's not at that level. I mean, and don't you ever think that it crossed his mind? Well, maybe I can become like a.
He started to settle when he started to notice the competition, which tells you he was never, because you can have talent, right? But then you got to have that next gear. You got to have that I want to beat. I could beat these guys, right? So you look at the playing field and you see these guys that remind you of you in terms of like practicing, success in the ring. Maybe you don't have the same style, but you guys have the same mentality, and that's really determines whether or not you're built for elite level. Because when you start questioning yourself, which he did, I truly believe that he did. When you start questioning yourself, that's when you start separating the great fighters from the really talented fighters.
Recognize. Let me ask you, brother. Let me just pose a question to you guys. Answer this, because he was asked this direct question. I'll tell you his answer after by Mark Riegel. What does Keith Thurman want to be remembered for? And this was his answer. Ready? I want to be remembered as the greatest welterweight who's ever fought. Has he reached his goal?
No, not even close.
Yeah. He's not a Hall of Famer.
No.
Right? I mean, he's talking about so he blew.
Hard pill to swallow is that he lost to a welterweight from the past generation, Pacquiao, who was really not even a welterweight. So I mean, what does that tell him confidence-wise?
Remember, Gonzalo, this was a welterweight he was trying to make fun of. When the guy was ready to fight Mayweather, he was saying that he was very predictable. Yeah, he was rather predictable. I wouldn't be surprised if Floyd knocks him out. This and this and that, and that he when asked if you fought him, I'll pay them. Come on, man.
He's kind of funny though. I Keith Thurman, I like him, man. He's funny. Remember when
he's funny.
Man, it sounded like his head was leaking.
Yeah.
Gonzalo, I'm having a hard time. Is it me? I'm having a real hard time hearing Gonzalo. Only.
Yeah, Gonzalo, and you have
real low.
You have a lot of echo. Not a lot of echo, but you have some echo.
I hear all you guys fine, man.
No, I know, but there's echo with Gonzalo.
Hey, thanks for rubbing that in, Recognize. Why don't you give me a paper cut, pour some lemon juice on it.
Let's move on. All right, guys, let's move on to the next question. Let's move on to the fucking... I have a special question. I have a few special questions. So let's go to the first one. Is Recognize 6'2" or actually 6'5"? 5'2".
5'6".
All right, fuck this question. Let me take that off. I have another special question.
Could be 6'5". You don't know that.
Yeah, exactly. Who would know? Who would know? Which excuse will the LDBC make if Fury wins again?
I don't know, man. I mean, they're pretty broken. They're pretty buck broken. You've heard that term?
Lately, yeah.
Yeah, I think they've been pretty.
That's gonna be the next excuse. That's gonna be the next excuse.
Yeah, I think I don't know, man. I don't know. What
probably I hooked up my headphones. Let's see if Jimmy can hear me. They're probably prepping the other guy to take his place. I don't know who that guy might be, one of the Charles. But if you guys listen very closely, maybe they are. And when he loses, they'll throw him under the bus. They're already getting ready for that.
Yeah, you would have to think after the rematch, they're thinking the possibility that could happen again. Or he loses again, right? So, maybe they're preparing. Like, whatever. They're just fanboys. That's all it is. I don't really pay them too much mind.
Next question. A real question. Let's see. Where are my questions? All right. Can Deontay Wilder bring something new to the third fight? Can he make some adjustments that are worth something? They're gonna actually change the fight a little bit.
Yeah.
Like what?
He absolutely could. I'm not saying that he'll win,
right?
But it's something that he should have picked up from the first fight. But listen, everything is an experience. So in the first fight, he didn't get backed up. Not the way he got backed up in the second fight. And yeah, he got outboxed, no doubt. He got outboxed, but he was always in position to try to let go of his big shot, right? And he did knock him down, right? He was getting outboxed for 11 rounds, and then he in all intents and purposes, he did deliver the shot that he needed to win by knockout, meaning you get outboxed for the first 11 rounds, right? You win a round, like the round that he knocked him down before, the 9th round, I think it was. But you're basically getting outboxed, and then you knock him out. Okay, that's the plan. He delivered on that plan. It's just that Fury didn't cooperate. He got back up. So that's the game plan. Now, we know that Fury's going to come at you different. Now, you got to make an adjustment to make sure he's not backing you up the same way again. So you give yourself a better chance to, you get outboxed, fine, but you don't get embarrassed, and you keep yourself in the fight where you can still try to deliver that one shot. I think that's what he should be. That's what
never thought about that, man. I never thought about it. Could this be what Wilder wants? I mean, he really wants a third fight, not because he thinks that he can win, just so that he can look better than that.
Could be that. Rematch. Could be that, man. Go 12 rounds. Okay, I lost on the scorecards. I kind of redeemed myself. I'm not totally swept under the thrown in the drain, thrown in the river, and like everybody forgets about me. Could be that, man.
Oh, he's a fighter, right? He's got pride. He's got this certain level of confidence to get in the ring. So he's got this this aura of invincibility is gone. So now he's got to prove to himself that he's still not. It's his Rocky 3 moment.
Yes.
Can I change things enough to where I can live with myself when it's done? Because people forget. I'm not going to go too deep into the movie, but that scene on the beach where Rocky's talking to Adrian, he was scared to go out and make a fool of himself again. She said, "No, you go out there, you train, you fight. If you lose, you lose.
Yeah,
we'll get by.
This one,
we'll live."
But I think this was like all wrong for Deontay Wilder. Like Apollo Creed Trainer told him, he's all wrong for you, baby. He's all wrong.
Yeah,
that's right. That's right, Gonzalo. There are some guys that could be all wrong for you. And look, I would pick. Obviously, I'm gonna go with Tyson Fury, and just to set the record straight when it comes to Wilder, at least for me. I'm not a Wilder hater. I don't like him. I think he's a little creepy, but I'm not a Wilder hater. I don't like his fans on YouTube or on social media. I don't like you guys. And in terms of like Deontay Wilder proving exactly what I thought he was, that already happened. Okay, so now I'm looking at it past that, right? Because I always wanted that ass whipping to come to fruition, and it did. It totally did. I totally don't trust Tyson Fury, and what I mean by that, boxing wise, he's great. When he comes in there ready to win, he's fantastic. He beats anybody. But I'm not going to totally dismiss that Wilder doesn't have a shot. Look, I've always said, and people on this side have always said, Wilder is not the greatest boxer of anything ever. And that February 22nd, 2020, that was on full display. So in terms of like proving a point, we already proved our point. All right. He lost like a bum that night. But I'm not going to totally dismiss a guy who, has the talent that, that kept him relevant. Like, the guy was pretty relevant, and it still is for a guy who's very limited as a boxer. Very limited as a boxer.
That's right. These things we talked about before, but yeah, whatever, man. I think he'll try to do a better job, obviously, in terms of surviving. I don't think he can. I don't think he believes he can win the fight. To be honest.
No, I wouldn't be surprised, Pucho. I would not be surprised.
I think he just wants to show the world that he's not as bad as people are saying he is.
Right. Now he comes in there with the motivation he needs to make that a good fight.
So the first fight he goes through, and a lot of people said it was a robbery, right? And that he shouldn't have won. That shouldn't have been a draw. That Fury outclassed him. So then he gets his chance for a rematch, and he gets put on his ass. Pardon my French. He gets put way back. He gets really put down. He gets completely dismantled. And then instead of admitting the fact that he did, and he wants a third fight because it's in the rematch clause, it was every excuse in the world other than the fact that this guy was better than me. I need more time to prepare. And so the excuse this time, because that was the question before, is the excuse this time, the LDBC is going to say, well, the break was too long. But can Deontay Wilder bring something new? I mean, he can use his jab a little bit more. That all he's got to do is that, and that'll be different than what he did in either one of those fights.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean he's going to win, but that will, he can easily bring
Don't
something.
Don't bite for every feint that he fucking throws your way.
Yeah, but that comes with tons of sparring and stuff like that. And I don't know, man. And we all said, like, we agree that Wilder shouldn't take steps back, right? But what's he gonna do if Fury starts coming forward? Like, what, he's gonna punch with him? You know what I mean, like, there's not much he can fucking do, man. I see another stoppage.
I mean, we know what he should do is to use his jab and step to the left and sidestep the aggression, but I don't think he knows how to do that in the heat of battle. And I don't think this training that he's been doing, and we've seen this videos of him hitting the pads and everything else, is going to get him ready for a 270-pound man coming right at him with bad intentions. Is going to make him think that he can do that in the ring.
I don't even think he has the leg coordination to sidestep or do anything, any of that. No, seriously, no. And there's something weird with the guy.
I'm with you. I don't think he does either.
The coordination is not even there. The balance.
Dude, he lost like the bum we thought he would, man. Remember when these dudes were like, yo, he's the greatest fighter, nobody could beat. Remember, nobody could beat him. And we were laughing. We're like, who are you guys talking about? Wilder? Can't be talking about the guy that trips over his own feet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No. It's
you know, the guy who got knocked out by a dude who needs high blood pressure medication, and you took that away from him in that fight. Come on, man. Like, this is the guy we're talking about this week. So to me, it's already, it didn't matter if it was Fury, AJ, fucking Usyk, if he would ever give him the chance.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe even a Dillian White. I knew this dude's the ass whipping was coming. It was written all over his fucking boxing style. That ass whipping was coming, and we knew it. We knew it. He got his ass whipped.
Yeah. And we didn't brag about it. We knew, we thought, because it's a lot of people also knew this.
Obvious.
Yeah. By the way, scale.
To recognize. Well, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mitchell.
Just quickly, Uncle Pete in the chat says jab, 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 jab. He keeps saying jab. I don't know if
trying to refer to something. I know what he's trying to do. Sneaky Floridians.
So recognize, with all the stuff we're talking about, and Bucho, you too, all the stuff we're talking about. If we take Wilder's name off of it, he doesn't have the coordination. He's tripping over his feet. He doesn't do this. He doesn't do this. He's clumsy. All he's got is power. If we really stop and take Wilder's name out of this, who does it sound like we're talking about? What heavyweight champions does it sound like we're talking about?
None that I can remember off of it. Was like a bum.
No. I'm not comparing the two fighters. Just what we're saying and how it describes him. Marciano tripped over his feet all the time. He had no coordination. We didn't know if he could do this. All he had was KO power. We were saying not given. I'm not saying that.
I was going to say, I've seen Marciano highlights.
The descriptions that we're giving, though, based off of the way people described Marciano's style, because remember, he was very clumsy with his feet. He shuffled. You could predict where his feet were going to be. Everyone said all this kind of stuff about him all the way through the years. And now we're saying this about the almost the same words about Deontay Wilder. I just find it ironic because Marciano was great at the end, and the only thing that was making Wilder great was the numbers.
Looked like Marciano had better punching technique.
Oh, definitely.
I'll take that. Yeah.
Well, the only punching technique.
The only punch Wilder has is the right hand. Everything else is.
Wilder has a great right hand, but I think overall, when you have the hook, the uppercuts, the body work, all that kind of stuff, you're right. Marciano had much better work.
The first Bermain Stavern versus Deontay Wilder fight, I actually thought Deontay Wilder fought very well. Can we get that, Wilder?
Yeah,
No.
I was about to say that, Gonzalo, but I wanted to move on, so I didn't mention that because
Yeah, well, I was
Jimmy
just going to
sent me
say, I
the
sent the
record.
picture. Let me tell you straight up what Deontay Wilder.
Yeah.
The first person he ever fought that was ranked lower than 20. So imagine that. He never even fought anyone ranked, lower than 20. It wasn't until he fought Stavern for that title. I'll see if I can find it.
I have the
Ego sent me,
picture.
Hamanites, whatever, sent me
Yeah, I
that
posted
picture
it.
I just sent with his fucking look at his championship resume over 5 years. Look at the Fury. Remember, he ducked. Listen, straight up. He was offered. He was the mandatory for Stavern back in 2014. Okay, but Stavern was about to fight Klitschko for a unification bout. And Wilder, he said, "Oh, yeah, we're going to pay you. Step aside." I mean, because really at the time, who was he? He said, "No, I'll do it for $10 million." And of course, that was 5 times what Stavern was getting for the unification. So they were like, "Go fuck yourself." So the reason being, because what the problem was, they both said they would put in writing that he would be the first defense, no matter who won. But the thing is, they're not stupid. They all knew Klitschko was going to win. And Wilder wanted nothing to do with Klitschko, even though for a year and a half, he kept dropping, I'm ready for him. And then when Klitschko's people really pushed the issue, fucking what did Shelley Finkel say? Hey, we're in no rush here. Of course, listen, that dude never wanted they knew not to put him in anywhere that he can hit. And they thought that, like by his own admission, that pillow-fisted Brit isn't going to stop me. Okay? That dude can't take a fucking punch. You saw it in the Olympics, and the reason why his own trainer, man, when the fucking shackles were off, said it. He never fought anybody. Because he can't take a punch. Listen, he was a manufactured champ, and he fucking fell apart the second he was in there with someone who could hit anywhere near his size. And I don't know what Malik Scott, that fucking yes man, is going to do for him, but from what I've seen him punch in the mitts, again, he's going to avert right back to what he does, how he does it the minute the fight starts. I don't give a fuck what they try to implement. It's not going to work. He's going to go back to what he is. And that's just my fucking thing on that, man. I just think the dude has been a fucking mirage since he came on the scene.
Well said. And I posted the picture that you sent me there that was showing Wilder's record and
wonderful resume.
Yeah,
wonderful.
That's atrocious. It's
and
the
I
worst
agree with
heavyweight
Gonzalo.
championship resume in the history of the sport.
I thought it was awesome.
Man. You can't make that shit up. We have Uncle Pete here who kept saying
I
typing jab,
disagree
jab,
with you,
jab. Pete, what's up with the jab comments?
Yeah, what's up with you? Jab, 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 jab.
You're out of control. You're out of line.
Jab.
Jesus Christ. All right. So that was Uncle Pete.
I really don't like when Pete behaves this way.
Just give me a minute. Give me a minute.
Let's move on to the next question, people. Let's go with... another controversial question. Special question. Who's the next person to get kicked out of BDA boxing?
Pete.
Yeah, fucking Pete, man.
All right.
He's next in line, I think.
Y'all hear me?
Yeah, barely, man.
BDA.
Imagine. BDA gets fucking kicked out. All right, next real question. Let's see what I have here. Okay. Simple question. Who should Terence Crawford fight next? Who should Crawford fight next?
His wife.
His wife.
No, I'm kidding, man. Nice. Josh Taylor.
No. Josh Taylor?
Yeah. I think that's the only option. I mean, he won't get credit for that. If he wins, people will just say, so what? He fought a kid who was at 140. I just don't think that does his fucking credit any good. You know what I mean? I don't think people want to see, because you know what I'm saying, dude. His haters, that's what they'll say. I just find, listen, when it comes to Crawford, don't you find it odd, after years of silence almost, I mean, outside of a few things, the fucking statement that Errol Spence made this week,
I'm going to go see Al and demand, like, I'll go across the street if I have to fight Crawford. Like, what the fuck is the sudden turnaround?
What changed? Yeah.
All right, you know what it changed, dude? Because now he realizes, holy shit, this is for real. If he doesn't not only beat fucking Pacquiao, but, beat him handily at the age, at the size. I mean, listen, this dude, there's a picture. Again, Ego had it. I don't know if he's tweeted out yet. He sends me in DMs. Unbelievable, like on the fucking standing at toe face to face over a scale, and it's crazy how much bigger Spence is than this kid. Well, 42-year-old man. You know that he was only 7 years old when fucking Pacquiao turned pro. I mean, it's so. Listen, he needs to, and if he doesn't, and what happens if he goes toe to toe with this dude? What happens if at the end people are questioning the decision? What happens if Spence wins, but it's a split decision? How
Mikey
the fuck
Garcia
can you
style.
use that?
Mikey Garcia.
Exactly. How can you turn around and say this kid's a boogeyman?
No, but I'm gonna tell you
what I mean?
now. Go ahead.
Fucking Schwoogie, man.
He should fight Sean Porter without a doubt. Sean
Porter turned down the money.
Yeah, that's
even
the point.
Porter admitted it, dude. He turned down $2 million, which is odd because if Errol Spence, according to the PBC guys, is the pound for pound, he's the A side, right? Everybody yells it from the mountaintops. But wait a minute, you fought the A side for $2 million, but that's not enough for Crawford. Just weird.
Guys, we have a phone
call.
call.
You know what it is? He can't fight him because fucking Al Heyman won't allow it. So that's why these guys say shit. They run their mouth. They say, I'll fight this guy, fight this guy, fight that guy. And it's in their contract. They can't even negotiate without Al's written consent. So there's no mistake over cell phone bullshit. Written consent.
Okay, we got a phone call and I want to respond to Jimmy's comment after that if I can.
Yes, sir. Let's take a phone call first. 619, you're on the air. 619.
Hello?
Yep, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Okay, so so what's the question right now? Crawford?
Who should Crawford fight next?
Virgil Ortiz for sure. Or is Virgil too young? Do you guys think?
You think he's ready?
Ortiz is a good. Listen,
I mean, Virgil looked impressive with Hooker, but I mean Ortiz,
we've seen this happen before.
Let him finish, Frank.
Well, I didn't hear him.
He's breaking up, but I want to try and hear
I can't hear him
either.
Yeah, it's low. Caller, you're very low,
Frank,
man.
shut your trap.
And I even boosted your sound, and it's still low. So, anyways, one last comment, caller, and then we're gonna move on.
Okay, so but I guess Crawford's not going to fight Porter next, so he has to fight Ortiz next because I think Porter's going to fight Thurman next.
Yeah, Ortiz. Yeah.
It's high risk.
I agree with that. I agree with.
He won't fight him.
Look, Ortiz, he could fight Virgil Ortiz. It's a risky fight because, he's just coming into the game. He's getting into the spotlight now. People are mentioning him. So if he loses that fight, it could potentially look bad. But if he wins that fight and Virgil Ortiz, who's still young enough to recover from a loss, because he's like, 22, 23?
Yeah. 23, yeah.
It just makes Crawford look better, like in the sense the way even though I think it's kind of bullshit, but the Canelo Floyd's win over Canelo is looking fantastic right now, right? Not until you put context, right? But if you just look at the resume, it looks pretty good. So if he can't fight Porter, Josh Taylor, and Ortiz wants that fight, I say make that fight, man. What other option does Crawford have? What he's gonna fight Josecito Lopez? Who's gonna care about that fight?
And that's what we go into.
But Ortiz shouldn't be forced to fill in the blanks because the PBC guys won't.
No,
fight
I'm
him.
not. I'm saying if Ortiz is what I'm saying is if he's willing, right? And he's
Ortiz is forced in this situation because he's the number 2 contender behind Sean Porter, who doesn't want to fight.
Right.
So that's the next situation that the WBO is going to pose in. This question should be more like who will fight Crawford next or who can Crawford fight next.
All right, guys. We let the caller finish, and then we're gonna move on. Caller, one last comment.
Okay, but I think you're right. Crawford should face Josh Taylor to the both in their prime. And also, there's one thing Crawford's almost out of his prime. He can't be fighting these clowns and wait for Errol Spence to fight him when Crawford's 35 and Spence is like 31. I think that's what Spence wants. Like he needs to fight someone in this time like quick. Like he's making his time on Josito Lopez, Wash, Kell Brooks, Khan.
Yeah, that's a great point, caller. We're gonna discuss. Thanks for calling. All right, take care. Good call.
All right, thanks.
Yeah,
well,
what about that?
listen, I
he's
believe
35.
Victor Ortiz would fight him and want to fight him. I think he's a tough kid. I think he's a future star, to be honest with you. I think he's the true dark boogeyman, meaning the one people aren't counting on. I think that kid cracks hard, but he just lacks some ring generalship. But I'm telling you right now, does anybody on this panel really think Oscar's going to risk the future and really the only star he has? Because Garcia isn't long for that place. No way is fucking
question
De La Hoya going to make that fight right now. I can't see it.
Question was
Victor,
Virgil. Virgil Ortiz, for me, Jimmy, the question would be whether he wants it now, right? That fight gets made. If he wants it now, I could see him saying, look, convincing all the people he needs to convince, like, look, I could beat this dude, and I'm going to tell you why I could beat him. Especially if De La Hoya is his promoter. De La Hoya is a boxer, so you can talk a boxer into getting a fight. But if it was me, yeah, I'm with you. I would say, look, have a couple of more fights. We're not in this to make other people look good. Fuck that. Let's have a couple of fights. So when you have those couple of fights and we're totally ready, then we propose like we fight Crawford if Crawford's still around.
Good explanation. That was a good.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. I like how you said about asking. He's a fighter. That's very true.
I didn't realize until you just brought it up. I thought he was a top ranked fighter. Virgil Ortiz is a Golden Boy fighter. I did not even realize that.
Yes, sir.
What the fuck they've been talking about?
And you guys know that boxers can convince other boxers, right? It's more they're more. They kind of like relate with each other. So if you start breaking
in the bigger his stable, I think it easy would have been to talk him into it. But because he's really the only basic future of that company.
That doesn't mean that Oscar will give in. But if there's a chance, he would.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Oscar's made a big fight. He's put guys. He's matched guys tough. I don't doubt that. I just not without. If he still had Canelo and shit, oh, absolutely, he'd put him in there. Why not? He'd make some decent scratch. Let's see if the kid's got teeth. But right now, I just can't see it happening. I mean, I'd like to see it. I'd like to see personally, because I'm high on that kid. I'd like to see him fight at the higher level that he's at now a couple more times. It makes a huge difference. He just needs
3 more
rounds.
Jimmy, 3 more fights, and then whoever wants. If I see the progression that I think I'm gonna see, and he reaches those, I'm saying whoever wants it, let's go.
That kid hits hard too. Make no doubt. Listen, that his power isn't fake. That isn't beaten up because he beat up cab drivers. That kid's power is for real.
Makes dudes cringe. Makes them.
Yeah, no, the kid he fought there, Hooker, he's a tough kid. I know a lot of people crave him shit.
You know why I know he got power? He's got that real good power that matters the most. It's not like that one and boom. When he hits dudes, I see them make the ugly face. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. That wince, that second wince.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's 3 of them. There's 3 of them right now. There's
He's
him.
He's like Triple
There's
G.
Boots Ennis. Of course, I gotta wait. Go ahead, Gonzo.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
You got Ortiz. You got Boots Ennis, and then Gary Russell's brother, Antoine Russell. Yeah, these 3 guys are. Don't push them too quick because they're going to take over the division, and all these guys are going to run out of people to fight. To where these three guys are going to be the ones that everyone's going to have to fight. There's 4 belts, 3 guys. Do the math. Someone's going to find the softest touch possible to avoid these guys. These guys are taking over. All 3 of them.
Agreed.
All right, guys, don't forget to hit the like button, please. That's going to help the channel. And somebody wanted to say something, or if not, I have a question.
Just real quick. Virgil Ortiz power is consistent like Errol Spence's. He might even hit a little harder, but it's consistent like Errol Spence's, but it's even more frenetic. It's even more consistent.
He hits harder.
More often.
I bet my life on it.
Before I forget, somebody in the chat asked me to ask Jimmy a question that we discussed before he jumped in. Which question was it? If Pacquiao wins, where does he rank all time? Within the all time greats. If Pacquiao wins against Spence.
oh, if he beats Spence just because of the optics of it. And again, it's not because I just don't rank Spence as high as a lot of people. I just don't. But that's neither here nor there. It's what the perception is. Perception is reality. He's perceived as the top welterweight right now. So if he beats him, oh yeah, listen, he's an all-time great. If he walked away from the sport today, if he beats him or even looks, if it goes to the scorecards and it's like, wow, this could go either way? Forget about it. His legacy goes through the roof. Spence doesn't. This is a lose-lose as far as I'm concerned for Spence. How do you come away from this looking like, oh yeah, so you won on the scorecards, and we add in all those factors? So I don't know.
Low risk.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Low risk, low reward.
Yep. Exactly.
And if Pacquiao loses,
great,
and if he loses, he's still one of the all-time greats. If Pacquiao fucking gets
he already is.
Yeah.
I want to let Guerrero La Info in here because he's been waiting for a while. Are you there on StreamYard? All right, he's probably not there. He waited a long time. All right, so let's go to another question. The last question of the night. What will it be? Who is
the final question?
Yeah, who is the number one pound for pound boxer? Who is
the number one right now?
Yeah,
Nani Inoue.
I mean, if you go by resume and you just look at the resume, you should say Canelo.
A guy that tested twice. A guy that popped twice.
Right. Listen, that's what I'm setting it up. I'm saying if you just look at the resume, you look at the names, and you look at what he did. Right. If you just looked at those wins and losses, it would be Canelo. But I do think that there are other guys that are better than him, pound for pound wise.
So did we not just see Nonito Donaire turn his career around?
Oh yeah, that duty fault, man. If it's resume, it's Pacquiao then. If it's resume, active fighters,
that's a good point.
I'm talking about the recent 4 or 5 years, man. 4 or 5 years.
Pacquiao is the franchise pound for pound. He's just there. You know what I mean? Everybody else is the junior. No, without a doubt, right now it's Pacquiao. He's the pound for pound best because he's active. But because everybody knows this is a cash out, he's probably going to retire. This is the end of the PBC deal. This is his third and final fight of the deal he signed. So I think he's going to retire and go back into politics full time. But anyways, yeah.
If Pacquiao wins,
for me, honestly, Usyk. For me, it's Usyk. I'm talking about talent-wise. You see, for me, talent-wise.
Oh, Teddy Atlas style. Teddy
Usyk's the best pound-for-pound fighter.
I'd have to say Inoue for me right now.
And I was trying to build this up before. I was trying to build this up.
and Inoue.
Yeah, I got Loma.
Those guys are the best fighters pound for pound.
So again, we just saw Nonito Donaire. I don't care what you think of his opponent. He just turned his career around. We all saw that. And Inoue beat him.
Yes.
with
Competitively,
the broken eye socket that everybody else quits with.
Right. Inoue is what, a 3-time world champion now? He's only 27. He's been in championship fights since his third or fourth pro fight. Inoue is number one.
That kid hits hard too.
Hey, speaking of broken sockets, man. Speaking of broken sockets, Billy Joe Saunders, man, he recovered wonderfully, bro. Just wanted to mention that, man. There's nothing wrong with him.
Yeah, fill me in on that. Is that true that he looks like...
No, it's true. He broke his eye socket, right? And it wonderfully healed. Like when somebody gets shot twice in the head and there's no scars. I'm sure you guys heard of that, right?
No.
Yeah, but are you being for real though? About him? In other words, okay, so it might still be fractured, but as long as he doesn't, if he never fights again, it's never going to be an issue. Is that what you're trying to say, or is it?
Well, he's not. In other words, he's not looking like Antonio Margarito, like RoboCop.
Yo,
what I'm saying is, go look at his last video. His eye looks.
Yeah, I didn't see it. That's what I'm asking.
it looks like nothing happened to it.
Well, Margarito looks like RoboCop right away. Listen, Margarito looks like RoboCop because he kept going forward and letting Pacquiao tee off on his fucking eye after he cracked his orbital. That's the difference.
Yeah, that's the difference. No, that was after the fact.
That's true. That's true, Pete. You're absolutely right about that. Yeah.
But
but.
Billy Joe Saunders recovered like Tupac did from the 2 shots in his head. That never. Yeah, I mean, I'm serious. It's amazing.
Wait. Is Billy Joe Saunders living in an island now?
I mean, I think he just had good surgery. He went to a good orthopedic. He was here in the United States, probably. He had the surgery. Because, listen, without a doubt, it was broken. Because you know how you could tell it was broken? His eye bled first without swelling. I'm telling you, that's guaranteed. When you get a fucking broken eye socket, you broke the blood vessels, you're going to get a blood pool up before you'll get any swollen. In fact, his face was sunken in. That's why Canelo knows. He's been around the gym. The first thing he did was, I know that, dude. But I'm saying, the first thing, remember when Canelo walked back to the ring? The best part, no, don't take out the stool. The fight's over. I broke his eye socket.
But it started to get black really fast. Like, but not black. It was like quickly.
It was a black. I think it was just a black eye. That's my opinion. I'm not.
No, it's filled up with blood. It filled up with blood, dude.
No, but you could get a black eye that fills up with blood.
Dude, you get swelling. I'm just saying the reason. But why would you get the blood is from the broken.
I've had black eyes like that. My face wasn't broken. My orbital bone didn't break. I've had those ugly, bloodshot.
But not seconds within 3 seconds after the punch.
Honestly, yeah, Jimmy. Like I could.
Really?
But that's the thing. That's what I was trying to say.
I had the two. It was two of them. I got jumped, and I could feel right away that my.
Did you get hit in the nose or the eye?
Oh, everywhere. I got hit everywhere.
Oh, okay. Well, your nose, dude. If you got your nose broke or smashed,
I was getting kicked. Jimmy, I was getting.
Oh yeah, so dude, you could have been kicked in the side of the head and it just pulled in your eye.
Yeah, it was everything.
The reason why Canelo called it, the reason why he said the fight's over, don't take out the stool. He knew the referee and the doctor was going to call it because again, it's like one of those things it's like the certain injuries just as a fight. Everybody knows if you see blood like that. Almost 99% of the time it's because it's a broken orbital bone. Because if it's a swelling, eyes will swell shut. Like you've seen hematomas like get insanely big in 30 seconds. So if it was a fucking hematoma, his eye would have swelled up shut. We've all seen that. But his face is sunken in too. I mean, there's a picture out there. You can.
And the way he was blinking,
his bone is actually pushed in.
I know surgery is very top of the line these days. I'm not saying that. He did. It's just that I just see Billy Joe Saunders as a quitter from the beginning when they asked him about the Canelo fight, and not even before that, like him saying Triple G would beat him. You get what I'm saying? Like this dude's a quitter. I wouldn't be surprised he just got a boo boo, and he's like, oh.
And the fact that he said, dude, prior and what he said before the fight just makes it worse. I don't give a fuck if I had 2 broken eye sockets. I ain't quitting. When he dogged, remember he dogged Joyce. Not Joyce, I'm sorry. The kid before Dubois. Oh, yeah, dude. He went right on Instagram and Twitter and dogged the shit out of him.
You're right.
And then there he was, one broken eye socket.
The guy was a quitter. Like, he was going into that fight like, okay, I'm going to see what happens. As soon as he hits me with something hard, I got to rethink things, right? You know what? The money's in the bank, yeah.
But, dude, let me ask you, dude. I probably dislike Saunders as much as you, right? So believe me, I'm not sticking up for him. But honestly, right, man to man, if that was you, if you were him, you're getting a beating, all right? He's getting closer and closer to smashing you up, right? And there's no chance you're going to hurt him. You don't even put your feet down to throw punches. Do you really go back in there to take? Because I'm telling you, because what happens when you have a what can happen? You know what I'm saying? You'll sever your nerve.
Jimmy,
your eye can literally roll back in your head. So I'm saying I can understand why he didn't come out.
But it's not a great.
He didn't show the Tiger heart.
It's not a great pound for pound win, is what I'm saying.
No, we all talked about Saunders had been looking like shit for a while. He's a middleweight on top of that. This fight took place at super middleweight.
I mean, to be fair, so is Canelo. Canelo's not Canelo is genetically big. Not genetically big. He's enhanced big, right?
Yeah.
He's genetically a guy that should be fighting at fucking maybe welterweight, really.
Well, the thing is, dude, with the GH, the best stuff about the best part, you keep that shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's exactly. But he's going to keep that size. He'll never be able to go back down like 150.
No, Jimmy.
He'll be weak if it did.
Jimmy. Hey, Jimmy.
We wrap up with who is the number 1 pound for pound fighter. I said Hanoi. You guys took 10 minutes to talk about what happened to Billy Joe Saunders. Who's everyone's number 1 pound for pound fighter right now?
Yeah.
I have Hanoi.
But I was just gonna ask Jimmy something.
I got Usyk.
Wait,
sorry,
Jimmy even
your
there?
show,
All right, hold on.
someone getting attacked?
Where's that coming
that's not
from?
me.
It's Boxing Chief.
Oh, that's Boxing Chief with his family.
All right, Jimmy, did you know that
Yes.
Canelo is doing another European vacation tour thing?
Yes.
Well, he got married, right?
Yeah, but he's touring Europe
And
now.
he's-
I remember you were saying something about
honeymoon in
Germany.
Europe, right?
Wait. He's only touring his motherland. That's all he's doing. What's wrong with that?
No. But the Jimmy knows what I'm talking about. The Germany thing. He keeps
Fucking
talking-
European. Yeah, he's German. That's what he is. He's like a German, Scottish.
But
Irish.
it's right before he went and fought GGG. That's where he went. He went to Germany. And I forgot under what premise, but you know what I'm saying. They're known. They're world famous. That's if you want to get the best growth hormone, you go there because they take your blood and they'll mix up a batch that will work the best for you.
Getting himself ready for Triple G. He said, "I'm gonna park him."
Yeah,
I'm gonna park Triple G.
And that fucking that GH changes you, man. But the only problem, the negative part, if you take it and you have any tumors and shit you don't know about, it makes them fuckers grow too.
Yeah, that's what happened to A-Rod, Jimmy. If you remember that whole thing, A-Rod did the same European tour, and he got that enhanced. Remember, they never tested it. They never failed him. They never suspended him for a failed test. He passed all his tests. It's that they had evidence that he did it through a text message. What was it? Remember BBM through BlackBerry?
Yep.
He's talking about it. This is crazy. So baseball put analytical evidence, means a non-positive test. The analytical evidence gets you suspended, right? So he got busted through that because he was talking to an informant. Let's be honest, right? Like that's all he was doing. He was talking to an informant, and he was talking about how he takes and how strong it makes him feel, and how easy it is for him to recover after
exactly.
Recover from a workout. Yeah.
And listen, I'll make it real quick about baseball, but think about this. They shit on they shit on steroids to try to get out of it. Steroids saved Major League Baseball. That shit was going down harder than fucking you can imagine in the 90s. People just started getting turned
down harder than George Foreman did against Ali.
But remember, it was the McGuire and Bonds. They were fucking going for 90 home runs and shit. The thing was out of control. It brought baseball back to the forefront. So it's weird how they want to get rid of something that actually saved the sport.
Save the sport. Yep.
All right, guys, we need to wrap this up. We started at 5:30 Eastern time, so let's wrap it up.
It's 8 o'clock Eastern time, you silly bastard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I started at 5:30. So it's like, holy shit. Yeah, I've been here for a while. All right, guys, we gotta go, but thank you for joining us. We will see you next time.
This is beyond your pay grade, huh?
Yeah. Boxing Chief said good night to everybody, by the way.
Good night, everyone.
Bucho, can I say something real quick? Real fast? Real quick, I mean.
No. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you, Unrivaled, for your donations that you sent to the GoFundMe. And take care. Shout out to Unrivaled, and thanks to everybody that donated as well, that contributed to the GoFundMe. Yeah, I'm getting my son out of hospital today. It was supposed to a couple days ago, but I'm actually doing it now.
Really, dude? That's awesome, brother. God bless, brother Gonzalo.
Yeah, and suppose to complete the payment and everything, I'm supposed to be meeting Buboy Fernandez today, and that's because he's flying in from Manila. They're training in Manila, so I might meet Manny Pacquiao today or in the next days. He's coming back today.
That's awesome, bro.
Cool,
have that motherfucker pay the rest of it.
I'm gonna suck in my stomach, put in some shades, and take some cool pictures.
There you go.
Awesome, dude.
All right. Then. Lucky you, man.
Hey, thanks, guys. Thanks, everybody. I'm so happy. Appreciate it.
No problem, man.
We're happy for you, man. We're happy for you. And everybody chat, God bless. Thank you for helping Gonzalo.
That's right. Everybody, man. Peace.
It's something good. Peace, guys. Take care. Everybody in the chat, thank you for joining us. What about me is there? He says Gonzalo. Great Gonzalo. Jonathan Morrison. 1 foot out the door. C. Lion. Uncle Burnt Apostrophe. Who else? Javis Bickle. Wexford DJ. Guys, thank you for joining us. We will see you next time. Take care.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. I'm sorry.
One more time. I'm disappointed in everyone of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in everyone. Totally disappointed in everyone of you.
All right, come on. Honestly, I can't do it, man.
I'm disappointed in everyone. Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be alright, Nicky. Go ahead. Shoot. You just killed a little fucking man.
What are you going to do about it?
You're happy because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. You're happy because you got nothing. Lobito! You got nothing.
I want to get out. I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA Boxing.